A decade ago, I founded Riverside to rekindle a love of learning in our youth. Our innovative vision immerses boys and girls ages 8 to 14 in epic stories, ignites in them a passion for adventuring in the great outdoors, teaches them the art of craftsmanship, and facilitates strong friendships rooted in faith. Join us on our educational journey. Visit ourside.org to learn more about our imaginative programs and summer camps. And check out my new book, Casting Fire, on Amazon. That's ourside.org.
Are you looking for a peaceful and enduring resting place for yourself or a loved one? Discover Fairview Memorial Park in North Lake, Illinois, a tranquil haven where your family's legacy can be honored for generations. We're excited to announce the upcoming completion of our beautiful new garden mausoleum opening this spring, offering both above-ground burial and cremation options. This serene space is surrounded by meticulously maintained landscaping and beautiful trees. With limited space available in our mausoleum, now's the time to plan ahead. Reserve your family's place today with prices starting around $7,000. And for a limited time, take advantage of a $500 discount when you pre-purchase a crypt. To learn more or secure your spot, visit fairview-memorialpark.com. That's fairview-memorialpark.com. Or stop by Fairview Memorial Park at 900 North Wolf Road in North Lake. Fairview Memorial Park. Peacefully beautiful.
Attention American homeowners, you're under attack. Your home and equity could be vulnerable to cyber thieves. There's only one company that completely stops them, and that company is Equity Protect. Equity Protect prevents any attempts to steal your home, equity, and ownership 24/7. Get your free risk report today by texting the word HOME to 94878. That's right, text the word HOME to 94878 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with Equity Protect.
Right now, MyPillow is having 2 sales in 1. The first is a closeout sale on Percale bed sheets. Any size and any color, just $25. That's right, you can even get queens, kings, split kings, and cow kings. Any size and any color, just $25. 11 colors to choose from. When they're gone, they're gone. The second sale is a new energy drink called Rev 7, a premium energy drink that is actually good for you. It tastes great and gives you energy all day. Plus, it has no sugar, no caffeine, so you don't experience those jitters and crashes that we've all been through with the other energy drinks. What makes Rev 7 so special is that it's powered with a premium nootropic that helps fuel your mind and provides the most efficient and cleanest fuel ever. For a limited time, get an introductory 3-pack absolutely free. These amazing offers won't last long, so order now. Just go to mypillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201.
You never want to miss one of life's most important moments. A graduation, a birthday, a first communion, a wedding. When these moments happen, you want to make sure to capture them so that you and your loved ones can remember them for years to come. For over 30 years, families have relied on Tom Kaloran Photography to capture important life moments. This locally owned family business can provide the solutions you need for your important event photography, from weddings and birthdays to class reunions and golf outings. No matter the size or scope, Tom Kaloran Photography will make sure you have lasting memories to share for years to come. Tom Kaloran Photography is also the official photographer for AM 560 The Answer. To learn more and to see their portfolio, just visit KaloranPhotography.com. That's KILLORAN photography.com. Or call them at 708-361-0025. Tom Kaloran Photography, capturing important life moments for over 30 years.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group. sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
The summer heat in Chicagoland is no joke. And if your old air conditioner is making funny noises, you may already know it's time for a new unit.
Look, your air conditioner, it's a disaster. People are telling me it's the worst ever.
Don't sweat it, literally. When it comes to cooling your home, Airride Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Rebates are still available, financing is flexible, and at Airride, installations are smooth and professional with no surprises.
It's beautiful. Some people say it's the coolest air anyone's ever felt. I don't know. That's just what they're saying. It's doing an incredible job. Really tremendous.
Plus, tell them AM 560 sent you and Airride will give you $56 off any service. Visit Airride Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Airride Heating and Cooling, doing it right since 1959.
It's your life, your legacy. Shouldn't it be your choice? For nearly 2 centuries, Catholic Cemeteries Chicago has been a haven for families, offering sacred spaces to honor these legacies. Take an active role by pre-planning your final arrangements. Alleviate your loved ones a future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of no interest payments and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Clouds will give way to some sun, breezy and a bit cooler today. High 58, clear, chilly night tonight, low 40. It'll be sunny tomorrow, the high at 65. Sunny to partly cloudy, terrific day on Saturday, the high at 76. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy and John Cass.
Yeah.
Woo!
All we need is Jeff Carlin, and we got the whole WLS crew.
We had a miscommunication, obviously.
Yeah.
You're supposed to come in May 22nd.
No.
No.
Actually, why don't you check your email? I mean, not if you want to do in-house business on the air. Why don't you check your email and see the days that Marcus Brown, who's our program director, you may know, have you as off.
Well, before you guys start fighting, where's my pay? I heard this morning, I heard I should be getting paid.
Yeah.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Marcus?
Before John Cass organizes the AM 560 Local 150 or something.
Yeah.
Starts to demand a collective bargaining.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call the same Italian groups that got mocked and turned into chumbalones by Brandon Johnson to help organize for me.
Yeah,
life
we'll
happens.
get to that.
Things happen. We'll be okay.
All right.
It's going to be
make it.
fine. And if we were all surgeons, we have backup surgeons.
I like this dog.
Funky's in here too, just in case.
Wonderful.
We need another creature in the studio here.
It's a full house on the Morning Madhouse.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's a perfect segue, I guess, from the Not from the ridiculous to the sublime, but just from the ridiculous to more ridiculous. Joe Biden's back. The big guy will be silenced no longer. Wants to get back out on the campaign trail. That's great news for Trump and Republicans if that indeed did come to pass. He did a brief sit down because probably 5-6 minutes is about as long as he could keep it together. Brief sit down with the BBC. But he had lots to say, including this in terms of a potential peace deal in Eastern Europe and Trump's pressuring, this is the premise, Trump's pressuring of Ukraine to give up land as part of said agreement.
President Trump is now saying, look, if you want peace, Ukraine is going to have to give up some territory. Some people think that is common sense to say that. Do you think it's not common sense? It's perhaps modern-day appeasement?
It is modern-day appeasement. Look, listen to what Putin said when he talked about going from Kyiv into Ukraine. And why? He can't stand the fact that the Russian dictatorship that he runs, that the Soviet Union has collapsed. And anybody thinks he's going to stop is just foolish.
Well, first of all, Kyiv is in Ukraine. He went from Ukraine to Kyiv. I don't follow. That's number one. Number two, so this is appeasement. Interesting. Vance told the Munich Security Conference group that the U.S. believes Russians are, quote, asking for a set of requirements, a certain set of concessions in order to end the conflict. We think they're asking for too much. In point of fact, it is Ukraine that has privately expressed an interest and a willingness and an understanding based on the reality on the ground to cede some of the territory or more of the territory since, oh, by the way, it's worth noting that Crimea was taken under the Obama regime, that the reinvasion of Ukraine was launched under the Obama regime. But, of course, this is all glossed over both by the big guy and by his enabler from the BBC. So that was one aspect. You know, a lot of it focused on foreign policy because this is Biden's forte. That's what he suggests.
That's how they sold him.
Yeah, right? It's Senate Intelligence Committee. I mean, a steady hand on the rudder, but after decades in the Senate dealing with these complicated foreign relations matters.
There
and
was
of course,
a part of that clip where where Biden closes his eyes, and Betty and I were watching it last night during dinner. He closes his eyes, and he's asked the question, and Betty and we both think
he's going to fall off the
asleep.
chair.
He's never going to wake up.
He's falling asleep.
Oh, no. Yeah. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also text us on that same line. I just love how he chose the foreign media instead of an American news outlet station.
He's a man of the world.
Oh,
he
yeah.
is not bounded by his U.S. citizenship. And speaking of which, he launched from the discussion of Eastern Europe to the larger discussion of what the moves that Trump has made in the international arena, and he's baffled.
I found it sort of beneath America, the way that took place, and the way we talk about now that, it's just the Gulf of America. Maybe we're going to have to take back Panama. Maybe we need to acquire Greenland. Maybe Canada should be. What the hell's going on here? What president ever talks like that? That's not who we are.
Yeah, Dan. That's not who he is.
That's still my favorite moralizing cliche. That's not who we are. That's a favorite.
I'm your guy.
I would put him. I would do an interview where you put him up and have AOC and Jasmine Crockett there, and let him sit there and just film him, and see how long it takes for him to fall asleep, and see how long it takes for them to talk, because they jump in and try to energize it.
You thought that he was going to fall asleep when he looked down and he closed his eyes because he was so contemplative.
I wanted Commander McBragg from the
yes, the fabulist
from the cartoon show. Yeah.
That was a moment where he did the sotto voce with "This isn't who we are." That I thought he was going to continue on to say, "From this is not who we are. This is not who I am. Who am I? Where am I?" I thought it was going to go like full. I thought that was going to be like the Edge, and it was going to go full Stockdale.
But everyone, of course, is focusing in on, did you leave soon enough and all that. I don't know if you want to play that now, but that's what that's the viral moment that I fell asleep watching his answer.
Regrets, he has a few, but he doesn't know how to use his words to express them.
Should you have withdrawn earlier, given someone else a bigger chance?
I don't think it would have mattered. We left at a time when we had a good candidate. She was fully funded. And what happened was, I had become what we had set out to do, no one thought we could do. And become so successful in our agenda, it was hard to say, no, I'm going to stop now. I meant what I said when I started, that I think I'm prepared to hand this to the next generation. It's a transition government. But things moved so quickly that it made it difficult to walk away, it was a hard decision. But
regrets, though?
No, I think it was the right decision. I think that it was just a difficult decision.
When did he get it? When they stabbed him in the back?
It wasn't his decision. That's what I kept yelling at the TV. It was not. It was Schumer's and Nancy Pelosi's and Barack Obama's and whoever else's decision it was.
No, it was his decision because, as they all said, he was...
he's sharp as a tack, Dan.
He's right. He's exacting, probing. He's an intellectual powerhouse. He's a tiger in the sack. That's what they said.
Yeah, forget what Jill said.
Yeah, that's what they said. So, I mean, are you calling Chuck Schumer, Barack Obama, the D.C. press corps, et cetera? Are you calling them all liars? How dare you?
I wouldn't hire those three jamokes to build a presidential library in Chicago.
Well, you're in luck because they're not. I don't know if they're going to get a presidential library built in Chicago, from what I hear about how that project is
And Laura
going.
Healy passed away. She was partially in charge of that program, so we'll see what's going to happen. But that's why that answer right there, Dan, is the reason why he chose to go with the BBC instead of with network media. But again, then later on today, he's going to be on The View. So he's trying to, restore his image? What is this tour he's doing?
Yeah, he's got to try to preserve his whatever he thinks his legacy is. He's got to do, damage control now that everybody is saying we should have been tougher on him. We should have asked more questions. And the press is pointing at their employers, the Democratic Party, and they're pointing back at the press. Everybody's trying to cover their ass is now. So of course Biden feels, I'm sure, prompted by Jill, that he needs to chime in here I don't know, for his own benefits, because it's certainly not to try to sort of establish détente over the finger pointing, and it's certainly not going to be helpful to the neo-Marxist party. I mean, they don't want this guy hanging around. It's like, he has the smell of death and defeat all over him. I mean, they want him to recede into the background.
That's why he's valuable to us. We should pay him off or send him to the beach.
Well, that's why
I want to see him every day.
Yeah.
I want that beach shot of him. Can barely pick up that aluminum chair.
Well, that's why. That's why when Trump was asked,
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah.
That's why when Trump was asked, what do you think about Biden? He wants to get out there and campaign for Democrats, and he said, "I hope so."
Yeah.
Matt in Mount Greenwood.
Yeah, on that note, it just never ceases to amaze me that they let this man on any stage, let alone the worldwide stage, to speak about anything. It's an embarrassment. It could be an embarrassment to this country. Well, he is an embarrassment to this country.
Only to the people who voted for him.
Yeah, they don't have a conscience. But on another note, you mentioned the presidential library. The only books that are in there are going to be the books that someone wrote for Biden or Obama. But that job is an utter disaster, an utter disaster. I'm sorry.
That's what I hear
laughing,
too. Yeah.
Oh my Lord!
You know
See
what?
you next week. Bye.
Thanks for the call, Matt.
I heard there's no books in the library.
The Bill Ayers wing is still under construction. George in Naperville.
Yeah, Dan, I think Biden's more like the Rip Van Winkle.
Okay.
All right.
He came.
I was waiting for the punchline. Sorry, George. All right. 5:38 on more serious matters. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem in Springfield for a press conference, standing with angel moms and dads, talking about this sanctuary state called Illinois. That's 5:38.
And Allie G's going to have none of that. But now let's head into the newsroom, and here is Nikki Whaley. Good morning.
Good morning. It's 49 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer Newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is set to announce his plans for overhauling the nation's air traffic control system. This comes amidst continuing delays at Newark Liberty Airport resulting from communication blackouts and a shortage of air traffic controllers. Duffy has offered glimpses of his plans, saying in recent interviews the system would have new telecom, new radars, and a new infrastructure. Illinois Congresswoman Robin Kelly is officially in the race for incumbent Dick Durbin's Senate seat. The veteran Democrat announced her candidacy in a video earlier this week.
I know that I'm an effective leader, and I am ready to take my leadership, my skills that I've acquired through the years. I'm ready to take that to the Senate and serve all of the people of Illinois.
Senator Durbin announced recently that he will not run for re-election. This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next.
For nearly a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we've expanded Cigar Night to 2 nights. Wednesday, May 21st at Gobert's Farm in Pingree Grove. And Thursday, May 22nd at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest. Featuring the great Larry Elder, along with AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Level 10 Coatings.
8 years. It has been 8 years since QC Kinetics has been the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain. Hi, Amy Jacobson here, and this is remarkable. Using regenerative cell therapy to restore tissue in your achy joints. These are biologic growth factors with robust healing properties, carefully and strategically placed in your joint. Listen, it's a powerful and potent way to give your joints the new life and repairing old tissue. Best part, there's no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. This is an all-natural option with lasting relief. Imagine doing all the things you enjoyed this summer without joint pain. Here's what I want you to do. Contact my good friends at QC Kinetics and ask for your free consultation. You have nothing to lose. Saturday appointments available. The number to call is 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance. And you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Clouds giving way to some sunshine, breezy and cool today, high near 58. Clear, chilly night, low tonight 40. It'll be a sunny day tomorrow, high 65. For Saturday, sunny to partly cloudy, very nice day, a bit warmer, high Saturday 76. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy and John Cass. It's
like the morning
today.
Zoo. It's like the morning zoo.
Just like talk shows used to be back in the day. We got a lot of text messages, Dan, saying, I just love this trifecta. What a great morning.
This is how, like, the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup was invented. You know, accidentally somebody smashed chocolate into peanut butter.
And we also have a dog in the studio.
Okay, well, just...
Yeah, well, of course we do. It's the morning zoo. You're lucky. You're lucky we don't have a peacock in there.
Oh, just wait. That's in the 8 o'clock, and some miniature horses are coming.
Yeah. Is Ron going to be in studio?
Hey-o.
Who, Ron?
Yeah. Ride the miniature horses.
Remember Maine in Heaven when we had those miniature horses here?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Wasn't that great? That was such
we like it. We do animal
What do you feed them?
segments.
Like little bits of beef jerky?
Well,
Like, you be a good
they're
boy,
just
Ron?
regular. Oh yeah. But my friend owns Maine in Heaven, and so they're therapy horses. Like Bunky's a therapy dog, and they take the horses to senior citizen homes and places like that.
But when they do their business, what do?
They do it outside.
They're
trained.
Have you ever thought that Bunky needs a therapy dog for being a therapy dog?
Yeah, there's a meme out there that says, once my owner decided I was a therapy dog, I decided I don't want to be this person's therapy dog.
Betty told me, you can't have one of these. This is the dog I want because it's perfect for me. As a stroke victim, I can't walk around fast. It's a perfect dog to, I can exercise it at my pace.
Yeah. She walks
my
very
slow pace. That's why I don't go golfing with Amy and Dan anymore because I can't walk the course. And I never did. I never golfed in my life. But it'd be nice to have a dog.
You can always sit in a golf course and go. You should go to our annual golf outing.
You guys
and you could sit in the golf course and you could drive along.
Watch you guys hit hole-in-ones.
Yeah. But you look beautiful. I mean, you look beautiful. You look great, by the way.
Wow.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
We're having a romantic moment here, Dan. Do you mind?
Dan, I am beautiful.
No, in the inside and out. I always say that.
That came out wrong. I'm just saying you look very
That's
good.
very nice.
You look very
Thank
healthy. You look thin. You're doing it.
If we could return to our regularly scheduled programming at some point, I would appreciate it.
All you have to do is subscribe to John Cass News, and you too may lose 65 pounds. I don't know, but it might happen.
Just by reading the intellectual offerings at John Cass News.
I mean, how many times can you read Whittaker Chamber and Whittaker Chambers and the Columbus statue and Louis Rego in the same column?
It's true. You don't get Louis Rego and Whittaker Chambers in the same column often. It takes a certain talent. We'll tackle that in the 6 o'clock hour. But now it's time to talk about Kristi Noem. It's actually sort of nice. It's refreshing that the Trump administration has more concern for Illinois than does the Illinois Republican Party. I mean, certainly the Illinois Democratic Party, the actual power structure, but including the Illinois Republican Party. Somebody actually cares about Illinois still. They're in D.C., unfortunately. The Department of Homeland Security Secretary in Springfield to join angel moms and dads and talk about the ravages that have been visited upon so many families and taxpayers in general in Illinois, thanks to the bipartisan sanctuary state designation that marks Illinois. Telling a couple stories, which is appropriate. Don't forget about these people, like Emma Schaefer.
Just a couple of houses away from here, Emma Schaefer was brutally stabbed and murdered by an illegal alien who was released into the United States by the Biden administration. He had already been previously arrested for kidnapping and had been released, and then he had entered back into our country under the Biden administration to perpetuate more violence and eventually took Emma's life. This illegal alien, his name is Gabriel Callisto Picardo, already had a felony kidnapping, and then when he was released, he should have been deported immediately. This murderer and the illegal alien has now been on the run for 2 years. He has not been brought into incarceration, and we need not just the governor of this state, but also the partnership of local law enforcement to get this family justice for losing their daughter, Emma.
Our mutual friend, Brian McCann, was on scene to, again, recount the story of his brother's killing in Chicago, as were other angel moms and dads. And Christine Owen went on to give a few more examples about the atrocities committed under this atrocious designation by the willful blindness or ideological blindness. You choose your description of the political class here.
It has cost the citizens of Illinois $1.6 billion. He has been incentivizing illegals to come here and to live in this state. In 2021, Pritzker ordered local officials to stop cooperating and working with our ICE officers. In 2022, there were at least 400 to 500,000 illegal aliens in this state, and we know that there's even more here today. This governor has bragged about Illinois being a firewall against President Trump's immigration enforcement agenda. And it is very clear that he is violating the Constitution of the United States because it is a federal law that the federal government and the president set and enforce immigration policies. In 2020, while Pritzker was in office, a 34-year-old illegal alien in Mexico was released by the city of Chicago after committing theft. He'd already been deported, he was a convicted felon, and they let him get away. He then went on to sexually assault a 3-year-old girl in a McDonald's bathroom. And in February of this year, 2 illegal aliens were arrested after they murdered a 63-year-old man. They lured him to his death using a dating app, tied him up in his apartment, and killed him. They then used his credit card and his phones and spent over $4,000 before they were arrested. And just earlier this week, ICE finally arrested and took into federal custody an illegal alien who had been arrested 16 times in Chicago and had been continuously released over and over again.
All those stories that we've brought you over the years, and there's so many more.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. I agree with you. It was so refreshing to see a Republican in Illinois pushing back against the Democratic policies that are in place.
The only thing that was missing was Tony Preckwinkle up there to be jeered at by the crowd, because she's the one who let the killer of Danny McCann out. ICE was looking for him, and his name was Saul Chavez, and she let him out.
Shame on her.
And I remember she held a news conference. It took 2 hours. She blah, blah, blah'd her way for 2 hours, saying nothing, like dancing on a log, trying to spin it.
Yeah, I tell you what, I mean, the particulars of how that went down that we've gotten from Brian McCann, Denny's brother.
You did a great job, both of you, to put Brian McCann on to tell his story.
Well, and it's a credit to really Brian by willing to, and these other angel moms and dads willing to stand up and put themselves in the public arena. A lot of people don't want to do that, and they have, because they don't want the deaths of their loved ones to go, to go without some justice and reform, and because frankly they're doing a public service by, and they all say it. We don't want this to happen to somebody else's family, what happened to ours, which is a noble approach to this thing. But I'll tell you, the Tony Preckwinkle thing, based on what I understand, how that release went down that you were describing, John, in a different time, like this time, she may have gotten the Wisconsin judge treatment, the hand and treatment
she would have.
for obstructing federal law enforcement.
And maybe Tom Dart would have gotten it for being an accomplice.
Well,
because they're all playing games.
Well, it was interesting too at that press conference yesterday to see there were a handful of Republican politicians standing behind Noam. I saw like Severson from Rockford and Resin from Morris and Chapin Rose from down in Champaign. There are a few others, I'm sure. And it was really something. I mean, this, as Noam mentioned, the sanctuary state legislation dates back to 2016. Who was governor then?
Bruce Rauner.
Oh, Bruce Rauner. Yeah.
Right. And I know most of the Republican caucuses voted against it. Maybe all. I have to go back and check. It was very few, if any. But in the interim, what have they done?
Nothing.
Where are they telling the stories that Kristi Noem was telling?
They're not.
Where are they circulating legislation, let's call it Katie's Law after Katie Abraham, to repeal the sanctuary state designation? Now, I know they don't have the votes to do it, but you put a marker down and you say, if we were in charge, this is what we would do. And you draw lines of distinction between you and the powers that be. And you make arguments, and you make them relentlessly. And you amplify the stories of grieving families who are courageous enough to come forward and tell them. And they have done nothing. They do nothing except show up when it's time for a photo op with Kristi Noem so they can put that on flyers when they run for re-election.
Yeah, that was disheartening. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Across town in front of the governor's mansion, did you see your Greek friend, Ali G? With his shades on, it's cloudy out.
Can I?
In front of a sign that says due process for all.
Because I'm a conservative.
Yes.
I don't play identity politics, but can I be the ambassador and take the Greek thing away from him? Because that's not Greek. You're wearing sunglasses in the shade?
Talking like Come Obama, on. Trying to act all cool. And he called her a monster, she is anything but.
The cruelty and hatred coming out of Trump's administration and people like Kristi Noem is heartbreaking for so many people around the country.
I mean, a bunch of old hippies and octogenarians with them there. But, Dan, I wanted to play this for you because House Speaker Chris Welch gets up there. We all know that some people, not everybody that's here illegally is murderers, or are murderers, excuse me. But we know that some are. And this is what he says.
Immigrants are welcome in Illinois. Now and forevermore.
Yeah, well, immigrants are.
Yeah.
Murderers aren't.
Murderers aren't.
Well,
illegals.
Legal immigrants are welcome.
How about gangbangers? Trende Aragua and MS-13. Chris.
Well, they are all welcome, and they're welcome to come at their leisure. And if they, get in a bit of trouble, then we'll release them. So we free release them into the country, and we free release them after they commit crimes. That's the philosophy of those individuals you've heard from there.
You know what Fat Boy says? If you come after them, you gotta come through me. Because he's a badass.
But the left focused yesterday, because I watched all the local news shows, on Emma Schaefer, that her parents weren't with Kristi Noem, they were with Ali G at his rally. But I think people are forgetting the man who allegedly killed Emma Schaefer, that was her boyfriend. they lived together, and that there could be something there, But he was here illegally, and he's still on the lam. No, I don't think they're okay with it. I think that,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care what her parents' politics are.
Yeah.
I don't care. I care that Emma Schaefer's life was taken by someone who shouldn't be in this country.
Yep.
That's it. And being the suspect in the murder has now fled, as Kristi Noem was saying. And if do people really want to play the parents are sanctuary city supporters? Okay, well, I got a bunch of parents that are not sanctuary city supporters for all the commonsensical reasons. This is not like tit for tat what the polls say, even though the polls are overwhelming. This is about what is right and what is wrong.
But I love Kristi Noem. She's just fantastic at her job, because somebody brought that up, and she didn't get hot under the skin. She said, all right, okay, next question. I mean, she was just flawless. She's very good at her job.
She shot her dog.
She's very She's very good at communicating about her job.
Okay.
Glenn in Orlando, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I just want to point out that during the COVID period, Governor Pritzker kept the state under lockdown for an extraordinarily long amount of time. While other states were coming out of lockdown, he kept it under lockdown.
Yeah, and people loved it, so what? So then he got reelected. No, nobody forgets it. They don't care. They haven't been reminded enough? Maybe there's a little bit of that. You haven't been reminded enough about what has transpired under Governor Pritzker? Is that the problem? I mean, maybe it's part of the problem to the person that, basically is dead from the neck up. And there are a lot of those roaming around Chicagoland. I get it. But the problem, the real problem, it strikes me as people are aware of what happened. They lived through it. They just don't care.
No.
That's a bigger problem. People are aware of high-profile killings of American citizens by people in this country illegally. They just don't seem to care, or not on the level of, well, I want to make sure I have, the right to kill a child in the womb for, through the birth canal, through his exit of the birth canal. The child's exit. I don't know what I want. I just want to hate Trump. So if Trump says it's up, I say it's down. And so that's the only thing that animates my understanding of the world, is my opposition to everything Trump says or does or is perceived to have said or done. I have no ability to process information that is not centered around Donald Trump. That's the last 10 years of the left. And Illinois is the base camp for that. And by the way, to Glenn's point, to some extent, there has been, as we started out saying, there has been no discernible, coherent, active opposition at the state and local level, with very few exceptions, that would encourage people to revisit some of their political beliefs or some of what they think is going on. And until that happens, we'll have people come in to raise money, both sides, and we'll have politicians come in, administration officials come in when it's time to go after one of the leaders of the resistance in advance of his testifying before the House Oversight Committee, which is one of the reasons that Kristi Noem was there, because she can tell those stories in a lot of states, unfortunately. They chose Illinois for a reason, and they chose Illinois because they're sending a shot across the prodigious bow of one Jelly Belly.
And after all the blah, 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 it's time to get the U-Haul, fill it up with your stuff, and move on. Because it's not happening in Illinois.
Dan, Amy, and John Cass on this special, and Bunky on this special edition of the Morning Madhouse, formerly known as the Morning Answer. Yes, all right. Here we go.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Come on with this, people. Move it!
Did you really think you could make that company deliver yourself?
Oh, I cannot handle any more traffic.
You could be getting much more done at your place of business.
I've wasted 45 minutes and now this place is gonna close.
Time is money. Let Quick Delivery Service take on the traffic hassle for you. They'll deliver almost anything, from large pallets of materials to important documents, or both. No forms, no labels, no scanning. Just tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going, they'll pick it up, and get it to your destination quickly. Your cargo delivery is tracked in real time with GPS. Notifications are delivered right to your inbox. Visit QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. Or you can deliver like this.
Seriously, another train?
Or get your delivery there on time with QuickDelivery.com. Or call 847-534-2244. 847-534-2244.
This Mother's Day, give Mom something that shines as bright as she does. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. Roland's Jewelers is the perfect place for a gift to make Mother's Day unforgettable. Roland's has such a beautiful selection of jewelry, and I'm a longtime customer of Roland's. I love this place, and I want you to make Mom feel truly special with a stunning Simon G necklace, a Roberto coin bracelet to match her style, or sparkling diamond stud earrings. I love that Roland's is family-owned, and I appreciate their expertly trained sales specialists. Roland's will help you find that perfect gift because Mom deserves jewelry she'll cherish forever. Visit Roland's Jewelers, downtown Libertyville, or RolandsJewelers.com. That's ROLLANDS, RolandsJewelers.com. Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust this Mother's Day, like I do. RolandsJewelers.com, or call them 847-918-7300, 847-918-7300, Roland's Jewelers.
Enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock, all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer on Dan and Amy 24/7. Listen now at danandamy247.com. AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:06, we'll talk Columbus and Zoftig black women. Art in the public arena at 6:06.
Unless you're Italian.
I got a story for you. All right, today we're going to have chilly conditions. Ouch, it's 38 degrees right now, going up to a high of 58. Where are we? And then tomorrow a little bit warmer, a high of 65. It's now 6 a.m., WIND, Chicago.
The smoke was black, not white. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. A little over an hour ago at the Vatican, and that means cardinals locked inside a conclave taking secret votes a second day have not yet chosen a pope.
The 133 cardinal electors need to reach a two-thirds majority to confirm a new pope. The black smoke over the Sistine Chapel means they've had 2 votes so far today with no clear winner. They can vote twice more before they call it a day. All this happening in the utmost secrecy. The sight of smoke brought excitement among the thousands of faithful and curious tourists in St. Peter's Square. Big screens show a constant close-up of the unassuming chimney. They've come to witness history, but history is keeping them waiting.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage at the Vatican. When the smoke is white, it'll mean they've picked a pope to replace Francis, who died last month. President Trump is touting a trade deal this morning with Britain, posting on Truth Social a short time ago the agreement with the UK is full and comprehensive, cementing our relationship, adding it's the first big trade announcement after he imposed tariffs and then paused some. Fox's Griff Jenkins reports.
For a while now, the White House has said that negotiators were closing in on a number of trade deals. So as the president says, there may be more to come. And it's possible this will serve as a template with reports that negotiations are going well with other big trading partners, including Japan, India, and South Korea. China, though, is another matter, with talks set to begin over the weekend.
Well, high tariffs are still in place on Chinese imports, and China's retaliation also in place, charging American exports. It's happened at Columbia University again.
We are the students too.
A big pro-Palestinian protest that led to arrests in New York City.
The NYPD was actually called to the scene some 5 hours after more than 100 masked anti-Israel protesters stormed the library at Columbia University. Well, more than 80 people were arrested, all students, according to the NYPD.
That's Fox's Chanley Painter. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 48 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. About 4 in 10 Americans are saying the U.S. is currently in a recession.
The latest poll from The Economist YouGov found an uptick from 30%, which was previously reported in early February. Despite the increase, the figure is still lower than the 50% who had the same view in late 2022 and in the early days of 2023. The poll also found 35% of respondents disagreed with recession claims, while 25% of respondents were not sure when asked about the topic. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Ford is raising prices for 3 models manufactured in Mexico in relation to the tariffs implemented by the president. Ford's Bronco Sport, Maverick pickup, and Mustang Mach-E electric SUV will see up to $2,000 increases for some models. A spokesperson for the company says the tariffs are combining with their usual mid-year pricing actions. They added the amended prices will not impact vehicles and dealership inventories. Ford's price adjustments come after the company projected the tariffs would cost them over $1 billion this year. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is criticizing Governor Pritzker for his support of sanctuary policies. She visited Springfield Wednesday morning and had a media gathering surrounded by families she said were impacted by measures in favor of illegals. Noem says the governor excused crime under the guise of running a sanctuary state. Governor Pritzker released a statement saying Illinoisans are sending a message to Trump lackeys that says we won't let you mess with us without resistance. News is a service of Fox Valley Coins. No waiting, no problems, no charge for in-store verbal appraisals. Bring your gold or silver in today. FoxValleyCoins.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
For nearly a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we've expanded Cigar Night to 2 nights. Wednesday, May 21st at Gobert's Farm in Pingree Grove, and Thursday, May 22nd at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest. Featuring the great Larry Elder, along with AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Goldilocks Doors, Locks, and Security.
Spring, a time to get outside, be active, play with the grandkids, enjoy life. But if high blood pressure is holding you back, the sooner you get control of it, the sooner you'll stop being a walking time bomb. High blood pressure is a serious issue. Your blood vessels are constricted, your mortality risk is high. So what can you do besides take medications with side effects? Well, there's a delicious juice that can help bring your numbers back down. It's called 120 Life, and it has natural ingredients that have shown to lower blood pressure. Yes, a superfood juice is showing amazing results for high blood pressure without the side effects of big pharma medication. Try 120 Life risk-free now with a 2-week trial pack. Go to 120life.com and use coupon code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping. They're so sure sure it can lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks, they'll give your money back if you're not satisfied. Order now. That's 120life.com. Use coupon code 560 at checkout for 15% off.
Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless. There is a better way. Pure Talk, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a better offer. A brand new free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan for $35 a month. You get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data, all on America's most dependable 5G network. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan. Pure Talk, wireless by Americans for Americans.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-893-2288. 800-893-2288. 800-893-2288.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens, inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 14 minutes. Outbound, 13 minutes. On the Kennedy, inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, about 10 minutes. Outbound, about 13 minutes. On the Eisenhower, inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 18 minutes. Outbound, 15 minutes. On the Stevenson, inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 22 minutes. On the outbound side, about 16 minutes. You got a car facing the wrong way on the entrance ramp from Pulaski. On the Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to the Burn Interchange, about 16 minutes. Traffic is in service of almostfreeteeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants with medical PPO insurance? It's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at almostfreeteeth.com, making smiles great again. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now I check out your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Clouds giving way to some sunshine, breezy and cool today, high near 58. Clear, chilly night, low tonight 40. It'll be a sunny day tomorrow, the high 65. For Saturday, sunny to partly cloudy, very nice day, a bit warmer, high Saturday 76. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy and John Cass and Bunky.
And
both Bunky and John Cass needed to get out of their respective houses, so we figured we'd just bring them all in to the show. So if you know,
she said she'd bring me some water, but I'm good.
Bunky would bring you water?
No, Amy.
Amy, I'll give you, and then we'll walk you later.
Yeah.
I'll bring a poop bag.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I can skip that.
Those are sort of visuals that are hard to erase. Oh boy. You're a good boy. Okay, John Cass.
How's Hyatt, by the way?
Yeah. Hayek is doing swimmingly. Thank you for asking.
Okay.
Maybe he'll make an appearance in studio someday, since it's anything goes these days, apparently.
Yeah, it'll be good.
All right, so John, I'm going to let you tell the story because you opined on the topic. The disappearance of the Columbus statues that happened under triple threat and has been extended under BLM Brandon.
Right.
First, let BLM Brandon have his say, please. He is the mayor. But this was the topic of the latest JohnCastNews.com piece. Where have they gone? What is going on? And you'll explain after we hear from BLM Brandon. Tell us what's going on. Now, remember, he's the mayor.
We do have to make sure that our presentation is depicting not just truth, but the best part of our existence, which is our collective humanity.
The Park District is planning to clear away the larger Grant Park statue's base and redesign the plaza as a gathering space that will accommodate temporary artwork.
Which sounds wonderful. A gathering space for temporary artwork to replace the Columbus statue in Grand Park.
As long as it's not Italian.
Well, I mean,
because Columbus
say
sins.
That. Yeah.
Here's what's wrong with it. He's Italian, he's Christian, he loves God, and he opened the new world for the rest of us to live in. And for those sins, the neo-Marxists, you've gone through all the histories of the Jacobin, Marcuse, all of them. And you've explained, and along with Amy, the hatred that the left has for the people, the common people, the good people who all they want to do is work hard, take care of their families, go to church, be in their communities, and they're not allowed to do that. Now the city took away the statues because Lori Lightfoot was caving in at that time to Kim Foxx and Tony Preckwinkle. And she called me up and said, I remember she said, I'm going to endorse Kim Foxx. I remember being at home when we lived in Western Springs, and I'm on the deck. I'm like, you're going to kill the city if you do that, if you endorse her. She goes, I got to because of all this stuff going on, and I just have to. So she endorsed Kim Foxx. They took away the statues because several cops almost got killed there because think of the angry white chicks, because the angry white people are the ones who are the enforcers of the Marxist. They're the same ones who scrape away the killing fields when they're done. And they took away the statue and the statues, and then they promised to bring them back, blah, blah, blah. And finally, they had a meeting where they said, well, you can have them. I don't know exactly what the outcome of the meeting was, except it gave Mr. Johnson the pretext to cancel all the statues in Chicago. And you have Italian groups, Ron Onesti and others, running around saying the statue is back. It's not back. There's no back. There's no back to that statue. It's not even there. It's not even in a park. It belongs in a public park so the public can see it, not pay some guy who knows Ron Onesti to get inside the museum. It belongs where it was. Why isn't it there, Dan?
Now, we've had Ron Onesti on the show, and I like
the guy.
Yeah, I like him too. He's a good dude. But it's unclear to me if this was a deal cut. I mean, you sort of tackle this in your piece because there seems to be division of opinion between several individuals that are involved in Italian American heritage. Right. Ron, the viewpoint that comes across in your column is that Ron Onesti and others cut this deal with BLM Brandon to get the statues back, put them in the location on Taylor Street as a museum piece rather than continuing to prosecute the case for public display.
Yes.
And there are others like Lou Rego, who you quote in your piece, that said we should have continued the fight.
That's basically it. And Lou Rego, who's not a big fan of mine for years, I still support his viewpoint here because the statue should be public.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. If the Italians won't fight for Columbus, who will fight for anything in Chicago?
The problem is, of course, they're afraid. I think
afraid of what? BLM Brandon and his 6% approval rating?
I wish it were so, but I think people are afraid to confront authority.
Oh, you think?
in this town,
on everything, of course.
But Italians, they're not a quiet group of people. I mean,
Oh boy, that's an Italian slur.
Oh no, it's not. I'm saying they advocate for themselves. Is the correct way of saying it.
They do kind of, but they also go to. They have to go to certain go up the ranks, talk to the right people to go to the right people. That's not. I don't like that.
So where is this alleged museum supposed to be?
Somewhere on Taylor Street.
It's the Italian, the Sports American
the Sports Hall of Fame,
the
right?
Sports Hall of Fame, yeah.
On Taylor? That's what I assume.
Okay, full disclosure, years ago, and I didn't know that it was going to be there. That was my first newspaper job.
Really?
What was your first newspaper
Writing for
job?
the Red, White, and Green, the Italian American Sports Hall of Fame.
Did you misrepresent yourself as Italian?
No.
Did you pull an Elizabeth Warren?
No, I was dating a Sicilian, so they let me in.
Oh, that's right. That was your.
And Danny Pompei brought me in, and I remember we used to have our editorial meetings at Jean's Deli in Elmwood Park.
Yeah, I mean,
on Saturday morning.
The reality is John Cass doesn't have a career without marrying Betty the Sicilian. She provided the glide path for this whole thing.
Without her, I've even texted her. She's like, "Is that Amy's dog?" Because I want a dog like that. And so I depended on her for everything.
So that's how it started. Well, so there, because the statues came out to play, so to speak, when they brought them on Columbus Day to a park a forest preserve in Stone Park.
Wait,
Remember
is that when Lori Lightfoot declared that she had she was Mayor Maximus Phallus?
Yeah.
Well, when they were,
right?
Yeah, right, exactly. She allegedly said we never have seen that. That's never been made public, but the allegation
Wait a
is
second,
that,
didn't you play Lee Elia just 2 days ago?
What about it?
Don't you have tape of Lori Lightfoot bragging on her phallus?
Trust
There
me,
is no
we've
tape.
all been looking for it.
There is no tape.
Everybody has been looking for that tape.
I don't know why I don't know why the Italians who sued the city over this. I don't know why they didn't make the deposition public or continue to pursue litigation, or I don't know if they have or where the litigation is anymore. But they absolutely they should have. And
Cui bono.
Particularly, who benefits? Particularly, right. It should have. If you had audio of it, which I assume you did in a deposition, not just the transcript. Oh my gosh, her saying that she's got the biggest joint in town, bigger than all the Italians probably combined. That would have been something. But there again, it's the same thing. I mean, Lori Lightfoot was box office poison too. She was a dead woman walking politically, and they didn't want to cross her either. Even Brandon Johnson is somebody as sort of befuddled and basically right now a man without a country.
The Chumbalone. You know what a Chumbalone is?
They won't cross him.
Look at his picture.
I know, but this is that's why this story. That's in part why this story is so interesting. No matter how weak the politician is, no matter how weak, unpopular, politically,
you take people
flaccid. They still won't. And they beat their chests. I'm just using this as an example because it's not the only one. Right. They beat their chests. They make big public press conferences, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And at the end of the day, they roll over.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Real quick. So that spot, though, in Grant Park, as we mentioned, it's going to be redesigned, and it's going to house temporary art. So the Columbus statue, folks, is not going back there.
Why don't they put the big fat black woman in New York?
No, I agree.
New York,
that's what they should do.
New York has a statue of a black woman.
San Francisco has a picture of a naked woman.
So put that up.
No, this is you're right. The Times Square, the 12-foot.
I have to see.
Right.
Yes, the a full-figured black woman, just nondescript. There's nobody in particular. It's just the visage.
The caption should read, "She's not Italian."
Here's the background on what Times Square did, and if it's cool enough for New York, then it's certainly cool enough for Grant Park.
The piece is part of a series called Grounded in the Stars, which Gene Cooney, director of Times Square Art, says confronts preconceived notions of identity and representation.
The artist explained his vision for the Rubenesque black woman.
And communicate those inner worlds that we have, and sometimes we misinterpret with one another, to try and create an understanding and basically encourage empathy.
You're not even American. What is that? Who's that? The artist?
The artist. To encourage empathy.
Forget about it. He doesn't even sound like he's from New York, does he?
Well, the artist said the inspiration came from Michelangelo's David.
Oh yeah. Is that why he's driving a Corvette?
Michelangelo's David, nondescript, Rubenesque black woman. Yes. By the way, if you were wondering, hey, Dan, is that a 12-foot statue of the nondescript black woman in Times Square the biggest statue of a nondescript black woman in the world? I'm glad you asked. It's not. There's a 13-foot bronze statue of a nondescript black woman on her phone that was built for Piazza della Signoria in Florence. And you can go online and see that, too. All right. And compare which nondescript Zoftig black female statue you prefer.
Can I have a side order of Pepe pasta? I was going to now confused on the pastas I want.
All right.
Well, that's because you're a fake Italian.
No, I know
You're a try-hard.
Yeah.
Italiano.
Pepper. What is it? The pepper.
Paprika.
Cacio.
Oh my, look what is wrong with me.
Come on, everyone. Betty, call in the show, Betty.
Betty, we need a lifeline, Betty.
Yeah, right. When in trouble, call a Sicilian. Okay, let's take a couple calls here. Tony in Inglewood, Florida.
Yes, what Honesty and Rego should do is get together all the Wonder Bread Olive Garden Italians that are living in Naperville and Bloomingdale, all the big tough guys. Let's go march, go meet down at the Daily Center, go march on City Hall, and I have a slogan. Hey, Brandon, afangul.
Oh, my God.
I can see them talking like that when they're at the Olive Garden eating authentic Italian food.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for the call, Tony. The Wonder Bread and Olive Garden Italians. I'm adopting that.
Forget about it.
Living in Naperville, Bloomingdale. That's
Pepe
awesome.
Acaccio.
Very. Tony from Inglewood, I think, has Chicago roots.
It's like
what do you
the new
think?
Orange Jesus. That's a good, the Wonder Bread Italians. That's good.
Jim and Lyle.
Ron Onesti's position is totally indefensible. My contemporaries in the Italian-American community, they don't understand it. The only thing that I can think of that comes to my mind, and I'm not speaking for anybody else but myself, is he concerned about his business interests in St. Charles? But you have nailed it, Dan. A 6% approval rating. Being lectured by this loser on this issue is the equivalent of the NFL taking down a Joe Montana statue in Canton, Ohio, and replacing it with Johnny Manziel because he was down with the struggle.
Yeah, right.
Right. Where's the Colin Kaepernick?
Thanks for the call, Jim. Yeah, or Colin Kaepernick. That would probably be a closer equivalent. But yeah,
I don't think anyone understands why Onesti's doing this, but I know that the Italian people are upset.
Well, he is an Italian
right
people.
now.
But Rego and Onesti are otherwise friendly, right?
I'm not into their whole
Well, I don't know. I just thought they
know.
were allies in this, and maybe there's a disagreement in strategy here. I guess
You put enough lawyers in, they start bickering. You know.
Oh, boy.
Jerry in Milwaukee.
Yeah. Good morning. Let's not forget the two-story mural of George Floyd in Minneapolis either. But my point is,
the hero. He's a
the hero.
Saint George.
Yeah, saint. Yeah, bow down, kneel down. But my point is that Chicago is always hurting for money for everything, but yet they have the money to take down statues, to hide them, to warehouse them, to bring them back out, put them somewhere else. I mean, I don't get it.
There's always money for things they want to do, Jerry, and they're always crying poor because they want more of your money for things they want to do. It's not that complicated a scheme that they run relentlessly, and you know why they do it is because it works, as you have seen, as we have all witnessed.
Lots of text messages. Dan, Amy, and John, there will be a study out soon on how birds are racist because they poop on the black statue lady in New York.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see any poop on her.
Yeah, poop on you. What do you, insult the comic dog now? Triumph the insult comic dog now? I poop on you. Kevin in Ogden. Oh, the Prime Minister.
Oh, God, an Irish guy getting involved with the Italians?
Now this is going to create World War III. Okay, go ahead. Take
Prime Minister.
There is no World War III. I'm sorry to say that the Irishmen couldn't care less about the Italians and the Greeks. But I will say, John Cass, you put on a good front there, because all the Greeks hate the guts of the Romans and the Italians for having stolen the world from the Greeks.
Thanks, Prime Minister. But if you're going to slaughter some people, at least get the pronunciation of their name right. It's Italians. That's how you Irish talk about them. Italians. Get it right.
Dan and Amy and John Cass and Bunky, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hi, Amy Jacobson here. With the crime we're seeing in Illinois, I know how important it is to keep my home and my family safe. That's why I chose Goldilocks for my home security. One of their awesome technicians just came over and gave me a free assessment of my home. They found vulnerabilities that intruders typically look for and created a personalized plan for me. Goldilocks offers state-of-the-art smart home security systems with HD cameras, motion detectors, smart locks, mobile notifications. As you know, crime in Illinois is out of control, and I'll sleep easier knowing that Goldilocks has my back. They even offer commercial security systems for any size business. Tell them Amy Jacobson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months of monitoring for free with any new install. Call Goldilocks today at 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com. That's GoldilocksInc.com.
This is Chris Stigall for townhall.com. If you were to listen to our elite media outlets, you'd have been bombarded with claims that Trump's first 100 days are a complete failure, that he's an authoritarian, tariffs will ruin the economy, and he threatens Social Security. But these are the same tactics used to mislead voters and justify shot mandates and lockdowns and incite violence, like the BLM riots or the Tesla vandalism as of late. These false narratives aim to deflate and depress you. Democrats' organized misinformation campaign is not working. Americans voted for Trump to lower the deficit, boost domestic manufacturing, secure borders, and make America safe, healthy, and prosperous again. Democrat polling is failing. Stay strong. Trump's goal is sustainable growth. As the saying goes, we're watching the sausage being made in Washington. It may not look pretty now, but the results will come. Be patient. I'm Chris Stigall.
Virago is fending off viruses and making America healthy again.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. I'm one of the co-founders of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Virago contains 23 natural ingredients that work synergistically to boost your immune system. Virago's natural ingredients also protect your heart, your brain, and your liver through its anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Virago also promotes healthy gum health. So go to myvirago.com, that's myvirogo.com, and use promo code IMMUNE to get 30% off. And remember, Maha starts with Virago.
Boost your immune system with Virago. Order your bottle today. Visit myvirago.com. That's myvirogo.com.
And use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%.
That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Virago and Maha, making America healthy again.
Are you an administrator, staff member, or parent volunteer at a private school? Would you like to grow your current enrollment and welcome new families to your school? If so, we want to tell you about a great opportunity to help increase enrollment and promote your school to families all across Chicagoland. It's called ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. They work to connect private schools with new families who are looking for discounted first-year tuition. In exchange, your school will receive a marketing campaign to help grow your enrollment. Chicagoland School Vouchers does all the work to bring new families together with your school and help you expand your reach. They've been working with schools across Chicagoland for over a decade. As the demand for school choice grows here in Illinois, your private school needs to take advantage of this program. To learn more, just visit ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. That's ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. AM 560, The Answer.
By the way, I love the juxtaposition of this discussion of the Columbus statue, the 12-foot nondescript black female statue in Times Square, because it gives lie to one of the biggest lies that's perpetrated culturally. That the most recent point in time is the most advanced point in time. Michelangelo's David was the inspiration for tall black woman or 12-foot black woman in Times Square. So Michelangelo's David 500 years ago, and now what we see from the arts community, the nihilism and the identitarian silliness, 500 years, and how much has civilization advanced? Western civ advanced. It's declined in so many fronts. By the way, we don't have audio of Triple Threat.
Oh, too bad.
Telling everybody that she's got the biggest penis in town.
I remember telling Onesti that the next time they do a meatball thing, they should put 2 meatballs on a string and sell those as Lori's favorites or something.
Maybe do a statue of Lori with the exposed dong.
Hey,
that'd be appropriate
Sausage.
for that culture.
I'm gonna sit that one out.
By the way, speaking of that,
Yes.
we do have audio though of John Cass trying to speak Italian at home with Betty.
Scusi, babidi boopy? Che cosa? Peter, what are you doing? Speaking Italian. Babidi boopy? Babidi boopity babidi babidi. Peter, you can't speak Italian just because you have a mustache. Boopity bapa. Bopa bibi bopa bapa bibi bapa.
Tu sei un pazzo, va via da qui! Sono stanco di te, ti do un pugno nella testa! Ti uccido con questa carne!
Dan,
I don't know why
I'm
Betty
sorry
calls
for
you Peter. I don't know why Betty calls you Peter.
Because Betty heard it, and I'm sure if she's got a paring knife, you should start running.
Wow.
By the way, it's cacio e pepe. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Simple pasta.
Okay,
yeah,
Peter.
she must have called you, so she
Who's
told you
Peter?
how to say that.
No, that was the spoof we just played.
Okay.
And real quick,
Yeah.
Ron Onesti did just call. He said they're putting the statue, they're getting the Taylor Street Columbus statue back, and they're putting it in a former cleaners across the street from Rosebud, and it's going to be called the Chicago Museum of Italian Immigration.
Do you have to pay like $5 to run on Esty to get inside and see the statue?
It's
Well, but the point is that why don't you fight for it to be in a public space like it was?
Conjecture on my part, I think they just are gaining possession of the statues, and that's the first step. And so now they're working on getting the possession of the Columbus statue that was in Grant Park.
Exactly. Here's the thing that I don't know why people don't understand this. If you think that the way to sensible public policy is to appease these barbarians, then you are just very mistaken about who you're dealing with and the times in which we live. This is not the play.
Ultimately, it all ends up at the killing fields, and we're out there saying, "What happened? Why are they doing this?" Well, you had your warning.
Coming up at 6:36, we'll turn our attention to trade and the markets. Some good news afoot. Sounds like the Trump administration is preparing to announce a deal has been struck on tariffs with an important trading partner. That would be the UK. That's supposed to be today. We'll start there with Jim Urio at 6:36.
But now let's head back into the newsroom. Here is Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 48 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Chicago aldermen are signing off on Mayor Johnson's plan to create more affordable housing with taxpayer money. The mayor was pleased after the city council approved his green social housing ordinance.
What we're doing is we're moving with expediency around building more affordable units.
The measure will create an independent nonprofit designed to spur the development of environmentally friendly, affordable housing units across the city. The nonprofit will be funded with $135 million from the Johnson Housing and Economic Development Bond. Trump Tower Management is moving fences with no trespassing signs near Chicago's Riverfront Plaza. City officials ordered hotel management to allow public 24-hour access to pedestrians near the site of North Wabash Avenue. If the barriers weren't taken down, the city would have pursued enforcement options, including seeking a court order. Chicago 42nd Alderman Brennan Rowley says that the Department of Planning and Development acted in response to complaints from his constituents. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
For nearly a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we've expanded Cigar Night to 2 nights. Wednesday, May 21st at Gobert's Farm in Pingree Grove, and Thursday, May 22nd at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest. Featuring the great Larry Elder, along with AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Airride Heating and Cooling.
This Mother's Day, give Mom something that shines as bright as she does. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. Roland's Jewelers is the perfect place for a gift to make Mother's Day unforgettable. Roland's has such a beautiful selection of jewelry, and I'm a long-time customer of Roland's. I love this place, and I want you to make Mom feel truly special with a stunning Simon G necklace, a Roberto coin bracelet to match her style, or sparkling diamond stud earrings. I love that Roland's is family-owned, and I appreciate their expertly trained sales specialist. Roland's will help you find that perfect gift because Mom deserves jewelry she'll cherish forever. Visit Roland's Jewelers, downtown Libertyville, or RolandsJewelers.com. That's ROLLANDS, RolandsJewelers.com. Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust this Mother's Day, like I do. RolandsJewelers.com, or call them 847-918-7300, 847-918-7300, Roland's Jewelers.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
From the Team Hawkberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, about 20 minutes. Outbound, 14 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 10 minutes. Outbound, about 18 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 27 minutes. Outbound, 18 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, about 23 minutes. Outbound, about 17 minutes. This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Don't postpone better sleep. Shop Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale now. Upgrade to a premium bed from a curated selection and take your rest to the next level. Don't miss out. Visit Mattress Firm today. Get matched. Sleep at night. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Clouds will give way to some sun, breezy and a bit cooler today. High 58, clear chilly night tonight, low 40. It'll be sunny tomorrow, the high at 65. Sunny to partly cloudy, terrific day on Saturday, the high at 76. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Some good news afoot. President Trump expected to announce the framework of a trade deal with Britain today. This is a big one. Obviously, Britain's a big trading partner.
Does that mean my Stilton will not be overpriced?
Yes, that's exactly what it means. I think that's central to the framework.
Uh-huh.
The beginnings of deals being cut that hopefully, ideally, this is the point, reduce tariffs and barriers on both sides with trading partners, engendering more markets for American goods, freer trade, more prosperity all the way around. That's how we hope it goes. And this is a good first step, it sounds like. Question I have is, what is the market factoring in? If Larry Kudlow is right, that what you saw in Q1 was the market front-running expected tax relief, and then if that's true, then potentially we have bottomed out and we should see a rebound so long as we get the tax relief and we get trade deals done that are in advance of trade, as I mentioned. Is the market factoring in deals getting done, or is it still skeptical? Because that portends different outcomes in the short term, at least, with respect to the markets, I presume. But I don't want to presume things. I want to check my facts. So to help us do that, we're pleased to be joined by Jim Urio, host of the Futures Edge podcast, contributor to wirepoints.org, and proprietor of Brandt's Restaurant in Palatine. Jim, thank you as always.
Thank you for having me, Dan.
So how's the Stilton at Brandt's when I go there?
What's Stilton? I heard you say that before. Is that something English? Because we don't serve anything.
It's a cheese.
Cash is a British
Anglophile, like Dan Proft taught me to be.
Yeah, I would say dandy
with my scotch and soda.
Yeah.
If I was going to pick out food to serve, English would not be too hard.
Yeah, well,
they're known for their cuisine.
They're known
no
for
shepherd's pie at Brandt's.
What about roast beef?
I do like shepherd's pie.
Sunday roast.
No.
Come on.
All right. So back to the markets, and so is this like deal with UK, the perhaps a deal with India in the not too distant future? As you heard from Besant the other day, 17 of our top 8 trading partners, we have active talks. They've made proposals. There seems to be progress that is occurring, and so results should be coming soon, like with the UK today. Is that something that the market has factored in, expecting these deals to be cut, or not? Because if they're cynical and Trump over delivers based on their expectations, then we should see some real rebounding, shouldn't we?
So yes, and so this one matters. The deal with the UK matters a bit, but realistically, if we take a step back and ask ourselves, are we really surprised that deals are going to be cut with the UK and with Canada and Mexico? Of course, they always were. This was always about one adversary, and that still exists. So these are only important in the context that if the rest of the world is kind of falling in line, then China doesn't have the same leverage that it did before. But as far as I know, I described it like this before. It's like the old Western movie, and all the other 70 gunfighters are shoot dead around the street, and now it's just the two facing off against each other. So we should know something about that after the Switzerland talks. We'll see how that works out.
Well, right. And so what about stories like this that keep accumulating? Also seemingly important, but I know they're one-off. So what is sort of the gestalt of understanding with thinking about the market again, people's 401ks. The Volkswagen Group, second largest automaker in the world, announced that Audi is planning to make some of its crossover and SUV models in America. We want to localize more strongly in the USA, a company spokesman said. So the foreign direct investment, the announcement of onshoring of some manufacturing, even from a foreign company like Volkswagen, is that received as just a one-off sort of ordinary course of business? We already understand that America is the destination for flights to quality, or are these developments important?
No, I think they're important. I don't think it's viewed as a one-off. I think it's part of the shakedown of this policy. Remember, when Donald Trump started to head down this road, the general market and most of the economists I know, the problem wasn't with the destination he was pointing at. That's a reasonable goal to get people to drop tariffs on us. The reason the markets were a little bit worried was about the pace he was doing something, because it disrupted markets without question. But these are and the market believes that any sort of fruit to harvest from this policy would be far into the future. Well, as we see them start to come in, and you always got to balance it against what was planned by Audi before that. But I think these are some really good and important headlines that are coming a little earlier than I would have expected.
The viewpoint of the administration seems to be, as it pertains to the Fed, seems to be something akin to what Mark Penn sort of interestingly posted on Twitter. Mark Penn, a pollster, doubling as an economist. I mean, he's a smart guy. He has opinions. That's fine. But here's what he said, and I think it's interesting in part because I think this is basically Trump's attitude. Tariffs are taxes that go to the government coffers. If Trump had increased corporate taxes or states increased sales taxes, such moves would not be considered inflationary. Taxes take money out of the economy, and the response to that should be to strengthen the economy with rate cuts. Otherwise, the Fed is slowing the economy down in response to the imposition of tariffs, working against administration policy rather than furthering it in ways it would never do for any other tax mechanism. Its actions are upside down. And, particularly the argument goes in comparison to other central banks that are cutting rates. What say you?
I think that's an interesting take because I've argued for months and months that tariffs might be mildly inflationary, but nowhere near how they're being portrayed for a couple of reasons. One, most oftentimes the country of the exporter tends to subsidize the sector exporting. Then the company that exports themselves tends to compress margins. So it's split, and I could go, there's a couple different layers in that too, but it's split before it hits the consumer. But that's not the most important part. The most important part is if they are actually inflationary, they're not persistent and embedded inflation that's going to go on quarter after quarter. It's a one-time price adjustment. So the notion that they're wildly inflationary and it's going to put us in this stagflationary spiral, I think was completely unfounded. I like Mark Penn's explanation. I don't 100% agree with it, but I like that as kind of a counterbalance to the stupid argument that they're wildly inflation and the sky's falling and we're all going to die.
Going back to the expected tax relief, which sort of hangs in the balance. It's a lot more precarious than I think some might have thought at the outset of this term because you have some blue state Republicans that are trying to get SALT relief for their wealthy leftist constituents, like Lawler in New York. If tax relief didn't happen, the promised extension of the 2017 tax relief in addition to the other bolted on promises about overtime wages and tips and Social Security. If it didn't happen, or if it happened such a way that the top rate went up, that the SALT deductions were raised considerably to bring in the wealthy in blue states to lower their tax bills, what would the market feedback be, do you think?
I think if those things don't go through, 2025 will be a lot more rocky than I originally thought it was going to be, and I thought it was going to be pretty rocky. My little cabal of analysts all think that the much better way would have been to start with deregulation and tax relief at the same time they were going on with the tariff things, because obviously the tariffs scare people, and we needed some salve on the wound on the other side. I think he's got about the next 2 months before really heading down the road of extending the tax cuts, additional tax cuts, corporate, like you said, capital gains tax at 23.8% is asinine. It is completely ridiculously too high, and it's punitive, and it doesn't then end up collecting revenues from that tax because nobody takes the capital gains. But I don't want to go down that road yet. But I think he's got about 2 months to start focusing on that, and the regulatory piece of that is going to be even more important than the tax part of it. And if that doesn't happen in the next 2 months, I think there could be some rocky waters for the economy and for asset prices.
If there is a give and take on the tax deal, where you have, since you got such a slim majority in the House in particular, and I'm completely opposed to this, but if there was horse trading, for holding all the rates, extending all the rates at their current level and reducing corporate and capital gains, we want that. We're going to increase the SALT deduction for those blue state Republicans. Is that sellable? Is that in terms of market feedback that says this is a good enough deal to provide proper incentives for work and investment?
I think so. I think, like I said, there's some parts of it that have to be focused on harder, particularly the the corporate tax rate and the capital gains tax. As far as the SALT stuff goes, I believed at the beginning that was almost, that was set in to punish blue state. That's the Democrat state, right? To punish the blue state people who are particularly real estate owners. And I think that's pretty much an absurd tax anyway, but maybe that's my bias talking because I do have a couple properties in a blue state. But I think it can sell. I don't think he should talk about raising taxes on people who make over $1 million again. That was a terrible idea, and I hope they mention that again.
Well, Trump's not talking about it, but some of the House Republicans were, and that was the problem. He actually threw a wet blanket on it to his credit.
Didn't at first he said it sounded reasonable or something, and then he turned out. I thought, whatever.
Yeah.
Keep that out of it. We want people who make $1 million a year. We want them to allocate their capital even more so than the poor people do. The notion that the government can absorb their capital and then reallocate it in a better, more efficient way is just absolutely confounding based on historical evidence.
So the must-have is capital and corporate, in your view?
That's my view, yes.
All right, so Scott Bissett and U.S. trade representatives are on their way to Switzerland right now, and lo and behold, their Chinese counterparts just happen to be stopping by at the same place at the same time. Do you think they're going to accomplish anything? Because this is a actual first face-to-face meeting.
My gut says no. They're not going to accomplish anything. They probably both walk away from the table. If you read The Art of the Deal, you're always supposed to walk away from the table a few times, I think. So it's and Trump has the flair for the drama. He likes a good story like this. So I think that these first round of talks will probably come up empty, but that's just kind of a better's, that's just where I'm putting my chips. I don't have any real fundamental analysis on it.
My question, but where is a good source of information about China? The protests, the layoffs, the factories, the economy. I don't know where I can go now. I don't trust the news media.
No doubt about it. And to the surface deep answer to the question is there's no good source of China. That's why I've rarely invested in China my entire career, just because it is so murky, the data coming out of it. However, that being said, if you really want to try to ascertain what the smart money, what the market believes, you look at things like the price of copper. And the price of copper has been hanging in and trending up over the last couple of years, but it's reflecting two things. One, it's not necessarily saying that the Chinese economy is good. What it is saying is that the Chinese economy has a lot of resources to deploy and inject money into the system as things slow down. But that's really the only way you can get a solid read on China. They are not forthcoming with data like they should. Even countries that are our good friends sometimes kind of massage the data. Even the United States massages the data. But China does it in a little more serious way.
It's too bad there wasn't some sort of protection for Skype. Just since we're in the conversation about government as a sword and a shield, and some people get protected and some people get punished, and the idea of politicians picking winners and losers. Skype, you remember Skype, consumer service was shut down by its parent company, Microsoft, on Monday this week. That was a $12 billion acquisition by Microsoft, shut down its consumer service. It was tracking to be a monopoly, so the trust-busting set sort of said 33% of the global market before COVID. And then along came Zoom, and away now has gone Skype. A lesson there about creative destruction, Jim?
And creative destruction happens, and you can gnash your teeth and clutch your pearls all you want. It's supposed to happen that way. And when you show me monopolies in any sector, I will immediately show you barriers to entry that were put up by onerous government regulation. That's the only way that monopolies have ever been created in this country, is when the government restricts any sort of level playing field competition. But to see one company win and one company lose, you grab your BlackBerry, and BlackBerry was the greatest product I had ever seen in my time. It was just mind-blowing, and then all of a sudden, it is completely antiquated.
Yeah, great movie about the rise and fall of BlackBerry, too. It's on one of the streaming services. I think it's called... Good. Wait, is it called BlackBerry? I can't remember the name of it.
It's called BlackBerry.
I think it is. Anyway, Jim Uriel is the host of the Future's Edge podcast and special contributor to WirePoints, wirepoints.org. Also, the proprietor of Brant's in Palatine, which does not serve British food.
which is not, nor will it.
You have roast beef, don't you? Come on,
have
Jim.
roast beef, John. We are kicking it around, though.
They have ribs.
They have ribs. They
try
have
the ribs.
Their burger, the Brandt's burger is what you want to have, and then morph into the tacos are good
I'm just
too.
gonna
And
go
their
have
salads.
I'm just gonna have
It's
to
a
go
great
over
place.
there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
you,
over
Amy,
there.
and Bunky.
No, my wife will drive me, and she'll give me an Italian lesson so I could talk Italian to Jim. Okay?
Perfect. I just got back from Italy on Monday.
Did you have cacio e pepe?
I didn't. No. I had a lot of meat and pasta.
Did you see Did you visit the 13-foot statue of the nondescript black woman in Florence?
I did see it. Yes,
You did.
You did see it.
What did you think?
Yeah. We were walking around the square by the dome, and when we saw it, all four of us were like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
And it was really it was a bummer. It's a bummer to think, this is a whole show on its own, and you know how I feel about health stereotypes and body positivity image. This stuff is all complete nonsense, and I want it to go away so bad.
Of all places, you think I would escape the woke, and then you're walking in Italy, of all places.
And slapped in the face.
Boom!
Did any of your group say, I wish we had something like that in our parks in Chicago instead of Columbus?
Hey, Jim, you think that slapped you in the face?
No, they did not.
You think that slapped you in the face? Wait till they put up that statue of Lori Lightfoot with her exposed dong in Grand Park. Just wait for that.
It's called Meatballs and Sausage.
Jim Urio, thank you so much. Jim Urio, a market analyst and art critic.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of
global 10% tariff that does remain.
No, 145% tariffs on Chinese imports are still in place. So is China's retaliatory charges on American exports ahead of trade talks this weekend. Because of all the tariffs, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell says
the risks of higher unemployment and higher inflation appear to have risen.
But not enough for the Fed to make an interest rate cut yesterday, prompting President Trump to post on Truth Social this morning, Jerome Powell's a fool who doesn't have a clue. Other than that, I like him very much. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 49 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. President Trump wants the fighting between India and Pakistan to end.
Speaking from the White House, Trump said the U.S. has great relations with both countries, and he'll step in to help if asked.
And I want to see him work it out. I want to see him stop. And hopefully they can stop now. They've gone tit for tat.
Tensions between the neighboring countries intensified on Wednesday. It comes after India's military launched strikes against Pakistan in response to a militant attack in Kashmir last month. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Now you know what's going on. I'm Nikki Whaley on 660 AM The Answer. Police have made arrests at Columbia University after an anti-Israel protester took over a room in the library. Columbia University asked for the presence of NYPD to assist in securing the building and the safety of our community, with Acting President Claire Shipman calling the actions outrageous. U.S. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was in Illinois the other day and talked about the state's sanctuary policies and Governor Pritzker's leadership. Noem says that Illinois' status as a sanctuary state has been disastrous for the people.
This governor has bragged about Illinois being a firewall against President Trump's immigration enforcement agenda. And it is very clear that he is violating the Constitution of the United States.
Governor Pritzker released a statement that said Illinoisans are sending a message to Trump lackeys that we will not let you mess with us without resistance. News is a service of Anthony DeGrotto State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there working to provide service and expertise when it comes to combining your home, auto, and life insurance. DeGrottoSF.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
For nearly a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we've expanded Cigar Night to 2 nights. Wednesday, May 21st at Gobert's Farm in Pingree Grove. And Thursday, May 22nd at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest. Featuring the great Larry Elder, along with AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Quick Delivery Service.
Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless. There is a better way. Pure Talk, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a better offer. A brand new free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan for $35 a month. You get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data, all on America's most dependable 5G network. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan. Pure Talk, wireless by Americans for Americans.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-893-2288. 800-893-2288. 800-893-2288.
That shot was money, Lisa. Hey, speaking of, did you ever figure out what to do with your parents' old coin collection?
Not yet. I need a reputable dealer to appraise them. I have no clue what they're worth.
I just finished working on my dad's estate collections. I took it all to Fox Valley Coins. Their customer service was the best. Plus, they're super honest and reputable, but most importantly, experienced. They'll give you the best prices.
Really? They handle estate collections?
Absolutely. Buying, selling, appraising, they do it all. It was quick and simple, and we maintained our privacy. Fox Valley Coins made the whole process easy.
That's exactly what I need. Are they local?
Right in Naperville. They have an easy website to remember. FoxValleyCoins.com.
Perfect. Now let's see if you can return this shot.
Whether buying or selling or just want valuation, Fox Valley Coins is your trusted gold and silver dealer. Visit Fox Valley Coins, 1 light north of I-88 on Route 59 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. FoxValleyCoins.com. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
From the Team Hopper Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 20 minutes. Outbound, 14 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 14 minutes. Outbound, about 42 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 33 minutes. Outbound is about 29 minutes. And on the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 33 minutes. Outbound, 26 minutes. Traffic is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants with medical PPO insurance? It's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now I check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Clouds giving way to some sunshine, breezy and cool today, high near 58. Clear, chilly night, low tonight 40. It'll be a sunny day tomorrow, the high 65. For Saturday, sunny to partly cloudy, very nice day, a bit warmer, high Saturday 76. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and our special guest, John Cass, JohnCassNews.com, Chicago A podcast.
I'm sorry I stepped away because I may have missed the wonderful John Cass News commercial.
Well, we still play them. They air
You're
here.
a walking John Cass News, talking JohnCassNews.com commercial.
Cacio e Pepe.
All the high-minded pronouncements of these Ivy League presidents, not limited to the Ivy League, but they're sort of a ground zero and a particular good representation of what's happening at the collegiate level across the country, what has been happening. All the high-minded pronouncements don't amount to much when day after day you have incidents like what happened yesterday at Columbia's Butler Library, where a large group of masked protesters, that's generous, pro-Hamas agitators, I think is more accurate, stormed into the library, waving flags, taping up slogans, chanting. It required the NYPD to move in to arrest about 80 of these pro-Hamas agitators and restore order. Secretary of State Rubio said visa statuses of those involved and arrested are under review, a la Mahmoud Khalil. And by the way, this is all against the backdrop of Colombia trying to massage some sort of agreement with the administration to keep the federal largesse flowing to Colombia. They're taking an appeasement route.
Isn't that their right?
Arguably a disingenuous one, as opposed to the approach that Harvard and some other schools are taking, which is the litigation route.
Don't they have a right to our money?
Right. At Temple University, just to give you, in their own words, an example of the sort of individual we're talking about. This is a Zoom call among some of the Students for Justice in Palestine, which is this group that purportedly gets funding from actual terrorist organizations across the globe, linked to Hamas in particular. Students for Justice in Palestine chapter at Temple University in Philadelphia, a Zoom call with some of the leading lights of this group. You'll hear from, in order, Mohammed Khatib, who's a European coordinator for the U.S. designated terrorist group, Samadon. European coordinator for a U.S. designated terrorist group who's an undergrad at Temple, I understand, or somehow involved in Students for Justice in Palestine. Either way, it's problematic. Then Bina, a they-them student activist. And then Rishi Arun. Take a listen.
So we see this existential connection between the Palestinian students movement and the political prisoners. So the Palestinian student, the day after of Oslo, they changed their activism from the campus to the armed struggle. If Palestine is liberated, this means this is a nail to dismantle the United States of America.
We know it's a victory when a red triangle goes above an Israeli soldier's head and the pit gets iced. Like, we know that's a victory. We know it's a victory when prisoners break out. We know it's a victory when all these things happen. But a lot of people don't necessarily know that. And it's not their fault they don't know that. It's our fault.
We will free Mumia because it is our job to destroy imperialism, destroy the United States, and destroy capitalism and the system of extraction that it relies on to perpetuate itself. And we will do it by organizing in a manner that actively undermines and destabilizes the legitimacy and the power of the state and the power and legitimacy of capitalism.
Boy, the evidence just continues to mount that this is not about Gazan residents / refugees. This is about destroying the West, which it's always been. And this is, again, why you see the same people wearing keffiyehs protesting in Colombia are out protesting for, ironically, LGBTQ grievances, for the full panoply of neo-Marxist causes.
It's like I listened to this guy talking, and I'm thinking he must have gotten an A on his Howard Zinn book report, People's History of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, these guys take it well beyond Zinn even, which is a frightening reality. Amy Wax is the Robert Mundheim Professor of Law at the University of Pennsylvania Law School. She has been addressing this for some time and also been targeted by some of these intemperate types at University of Penn. Professor Wax joins us now. Professor, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
I'm glad to be here.
I can't imagine you're surprised by what you hear from some of these adherents, Students for Justice in Palestine, what you see happening at Columbia every other day. You're not particularly surprised. I remember a couple of years ago when you were on this show where you said the Ivy League is basically over. It is not redeemable. It needs to be, sort of shuttered and reimagined.
Well, it at least needs to be defunded and reduced because it has become a site of anti-American and anti-Western agitation and attitudes, and none of those have really changed recently, even though they've been under a lot of pressure. Their reaction is to deny and resist.
The just if you could refresh our audience's recollection of the criticism and efforts to expel you that were afoot for commentary you made about feminists and other such identitarian topics, because I just want an example of the people, as I said, wearing keffiyehs now are the same people that were trying to get you kicked out of Penn Law for commenting on other matters unrelated to the Middle East.
Well, it's a very long saga, and I won't bore your listeners with all the excruciating details, but some of the opinions that I expressed, and these are, outside of the classroom, in the media, in podcasts and interviews, and in publications, which I am very much entitled to. My viewpoints on those contexts, those were objected to by identity groups on campus, and really that's the theme. These multicultural identity groups of students have been fed a narrative, a Zinn-like narrative, and certain facts, which are essentially fairy tales, about different groups and their role in American society, and anybody who dares to criticize that narrative or offer alternative true facts about identity groups, group achievements, group behavior, that person is suspect on campus. So if you comment, for example, that blacks tend to commit crimes at a higher rate, or that there are achievement gaps in the school in grades that different groups get as a result of affirmative action, those are forbidden thoughts. So those are some of the thoughts that these groups complained about to the administration, and of course the administration responded. They brought charges against me. They found me guilty of inequitably targeted disrespect and other made-up, vague infractions. They've suspended me for a year, although my suspension has not started yet because I was in the middle of teaching when that happened, and cut my salary. So there have been various penalties that have been imposed on me, and now I'm in the middle of a lawsuit challenging those penalties.
In the discovery of that lawsuit or any other legal avenue, can we find out how much the governments of Saudi and Qatar are paying the universities to develop these departments where fairy tales and hatred are spewed out on a regular basis in the Ivy League?
Well, I mean, that's a little bit peripheral to my lawsuit, but
Yes.
that information is available, and it has been reported, it has been written about. If people are curious, I would refer them to an organization that I've served on the board of called the National Association of Scholars. The National Association of Scholars, NAS, which you can Google, has reports on foreign government support of centers at our universities. There are massive amounts of money that China, Qatar, other countries have put into our universities, and which definitely influence what is taught. But I'm sorry to have to report this. Foreign students and foreign governments have a big role in some of the anti-American, anti-Western tilt on campus, but a lot of it just comes from the faculty and from the administration. A lot of it is homegrown. So it's really a collusion between these foreign influences and native influences. I myself have come out against having so many foreign students and foreign student visas because I think that just adds fuel to the fire. I don't think that taxpayers, American taxpayers, should be paying to educate people from Venezuela or Saudi Arabia. That's crazy. And, of course, that's happening more and more. But when we bring in third world students and faculty and centers, we bring in anti-Western, anti-Semitic ideas by definition, because those cultures have not gone through the evolution that the West has gone through to tamp down religious intolerance, to tamp down tribalism. So we're really just shooting ourselves in the foot here in our student policies, visa policies, immigration policies, and educational policies.
I saw that the psychologist Steven Pinker said there's been some progress made at Harvard in the direction of free speech, which is interesting because the Harvard president, Alan Garber, said on 60 Minutes just a couple of weeks ago that they've got an anti-Semitism problem on campus. Yeah, no kidding. But I just wonder, do you see a progress that Steven Pinker sees at Harvard or at Penn since, for example, Liz McGill had to resign as president of Penn? Do we see any green shoots at some of these schools?
Well, I can't speak to Harvard, but I can tell you, being a professor at Penn, that I haven't seen any. None, like literally none. There was a recent series of faculty senate panels and presentations on the threat to higher ed by the Trump administration, the crisis, the existential crisis, and all of this alarmist talk. And if you listen to these panel presentations, which includes Penn people and outside people as well, their attitude is, we are wonderful, we are faultless, there is nothing wrong with us, we are a boon to democracy and to America. Why are they doing this to us? We just don't understand. They are completely oblivious to the complaints that you have just reviewed in your segment and that have been documented, the sort of Zinn-like attack on the American way of life, all the crazy stuff with DEI and racial policies and, anti-Semitic activity, the tamping of free speech, the persecution of people like me who dissent from the woke dogma. I mean, all of that is just not even mentioned, all right? They refuse to even acknowledge it. They think that taxpayer money is their entitlement. So just listen to the rhetoric, and there is resistance, 100% resistance to what is happening.
I admire your strength, and it's not fun, waiting for your sentence to begin, so to speak. But when do you begin your 1-year suspension, and is there any hope your lawyers can get you out of it?
Well, yes, we're working on that right now. My suspension begins July 1st, so I won't be able to teach next year, but our judge in our case is now considering something called a preliminary injunction, and that would be suspending my suspension, essentially putting it off until my case is resolved. Because if you think about it, if they suspend me and then ultimately I win my case, which I hope I will, but it's not guaranteed, then the suspension will have happened, and they do to make up for that. So we are asking the judge, and he does promise to rule in the next month or so on whether my suspension will happen or not. And I certainly hope it won't, because a lot of students have asked me, will you be around next year? Will you be teaching? All of that. Yeah.
One of the criticisms you've lodged against higher ed is the feminization of it in a political sense. And I wonder what you think, if anything, can be done to address that. I'm thinking in particular about the disparity these days in male versus female students as undergrads, which is like 60-40 women, and I think that gap is expanding, including in most disciplines, including in for most advanced degrees as well. And it seems like it's sort of a trick bag. If part of the issue is, or part of the solution is to encourage more young men to go to college, then at the same time you have a lot of people discouraging young people generally, including young men, go into the trades after high school. Don't go to college because it's not worth it. And, oh, by the way, if you're a white male, you're going to be reviled, and that's not necessarily attractive to a lot of young men. I just wonder if you think there's a way to address that, and if the disparity to the male-female disparity is one of the needs on that score.
Well, I mean, the male-female disparity has upsides and downsides. You're absolutely right that the feminization of these institutions is driving away young men, and that's completely understandable. But it's a vicious circle because these institutions are self-governing, and the more females there are, as students are in positions of power, the more feminized it becomes, the more emotions rule over logic and discourse and rigor and that sort of thing. But, frankly, I think the only solution to what's happening in higher ed is to shrink the sector, to take away their money, to take away their... And if that requires fewer men going to college, then that could be a positive thing. If men abandon higher ed, then higher ed is going to be deprived of that student segment. And it might be good for men as well, because a lot of men really shouldn't be in college. They're not terribly interested in that route. They don't get a lot out of it. They'd be better off training for specific jobs. The only downside, I think, is it really does interfere with men and women getting together in relationships, getting married, having children, and that is, the hallmark of a dying civilization. We have a birth rate problem and a marriage problem in our society, and that's the sign of a decadent, dying society, frankly. I don't really know what to do about that. And, of course, women stubbornly are hypergamous. They want to marry men who are equal or above them in status. It's very hard to argue them out of that, even though they're very hostile to men now. And they talk about toxic masculinity all the time. So I have no magic solutions to this vicious circle that we're in.
I'm not an expert because I've been married for 39 years now, so I'm out of the market. But I need to ask you, as far as women are concerned, why are these angry women continually... It seems like whenever I'm watching the news stories on this, it's an angry woman screaming from the river to the sea. Why?
Well, I mean, women are very vulnerable to what I would call pathological altruism. Just, championing what they perceive to be the underdog in a very myopic way, a very emotion-driven way. They buy into the whole woke paradigm of oppressor and oppressed. They are not traditionally and historically primarily responsible for upholding and pushing forward civilization in its highest achievements. They are playing a supporting role mostly, and I don't see that as changing very much or continuing, but now that supporting role has turned into an undermining role. Women, that's part of the feminization. Feminization is to be ruled by emotions, by empathy, by altruism, by all of these feelings in a very primitive and short-term way, and not being able to see the long-term destructive effects of that. I think women are particularly prone to that, and it's paradoxical because these are supposed to be the most educated women in society, and yet what they've been educated to is this bizarre, twisted ideology that we call wokeism.
Amy Wax is the Robert Mundheim Professor of Law at the University of Pennsylvania Law School. Professor Wax, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, good luck. I'll have you in my prayers. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
8 years. It has been 8 years since QC Kinetics has been the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain. Hi, Amy Jacobson here, and this is remarkable. Using regenerative cell therapy to restore tissue in your achy joints. These are biologic growth factors with robust healing properties, carefully and strategically placed in your joint. Listen, it's a powerful and potent way to give your joints the new life and repairing old tissue. Best part, there's no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. This is an all-natural option with lasting relief. Imagine doing all the things you enjoyed this summer without joint pain. Here's what I want you to do. Contact my good friends at QC Kinetics and ask for your free consultation. You have nothing to lose. Saturday appointments available. The number to call is 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
AM 560, The Answer.
I'll give you another example of the feminization of institutions that Amy Wax so eloquently described. At the conclave in the Vatican over the selection of the new pope, which is, I don't know,
Day 2 now, because they just
couple votes in, yeah.
Driving into work. The black smoke was coming out of the stack, so they have not reached a decision yet.
Right. Before the conclave convened, you had some feminists outside the Sistine Chapel releasing pink smoke.
Oh, gosh.
A male-only conclave is a celebration of patriarchy. A Catholic church without women has never existed and never will.
Yeah.
Smoke
For a reason.
out sexism. Smoke out sexism.
Smoke out sexism.
A woman's
okay?
place is
Enjoy
in the
your
conclave.
Christmas, honey.
Smoke out sexism. God calls Catholic women to be deacons and priests. Smoke out sexism.
Who's covering this?
We are sending up pink smoke over the Vatican ahead of the start of the conclave later today. We are doing this because we know we've got a little window of time before the cardinals are sequestered inside that Sistine Chapel with no access to their social media and their phones, that they will see the pink smoke over the Vatican.
No, they won't, honey.
I suspect there was a coven of Ivy League grads there releasing the pink smoke. Speaking of pathological altruism, what a great phrase, as Professor Wax mentioned. Pathological altruism in Hollywood. We'll discuss with former writer for Cheers, Rob Long, 7:37.
That'll be great. Now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 49 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560. The Answer Newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is set to announce his plans for overhauling the nation's air traffic control system. This comes amidst continuing delays at Newark Liberty Airport resulting from communication blackouts and a shortage of air traffic controllers. Duffy has offered glimpses of his plans, saying in recent interviews the system would have new telecom, new radars, and a new infrastructure. Illinois Congresswoman Robin Kelly is officially in the race for incumbent Dick Durbin's Senate seat. The veteran Democrat announced her candidacy in a video earlier this week.
I know that I'm an effective leader, and I am ready to take my leadership, my skills that I've acquired through the years. I'm ready to take that to the Senate and serve all of the people of Illinois.
Senator Durbin announced recently that he will not run for re-election. Ramp closures begin later this month on the outbound Kennedy Expressway. The closures are scheduled to begin May 19th as part of the ongoing rehabilitation from the Edens Expressway junction to Ohio Street. They're necessary to safely complete repairs and pavement patching on the ramps. News is a service of Airride Heating and Cooling, offering AM 560 listeners $56 off of any service, including inspections. Don't wait for a heat wave for that old air conditioner to break down. Visit Airride Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Come hungry to Scott Tucker Solutions Night at Portillo's, benefiting the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. Join us Thursday, May 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. at Portillo's in Niles at 8832 West Dempster Street and use the cashier code Portillos20. The night's bill is on Scott Tucker, and you eating free Portillo's helps support the families of fallen and disabled Chicago police officers and their families via the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. Enjoy your favorites, hot dogs, Italian beef, and chocolate cake. Scott Tucker is picking up the check, and Portillo's is donating 20% of gross sales to the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. So bring your appetite to Scott Tucker Solutions Night at Portillo's. It's Thursday, May 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Portillo's in Niles at 8832 West Dempster Street. And make sure to use the cashier code Portillos20. Eat well and come out and run up Scott Tucker's bill and support the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. We'll see you there. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
You've heard us talk about our campaign this spring with Caring Network. They're a local pro-life organization based in Chicagoland, and they're working to prevent abortions in Illinois by reaching abortion-minded women with a message of life and hope. But they need your help to do that. Illinois has unfortunately become a destination for so-called abortion tourism, as our neighboring states have imposed reasonable restrictions on abortion. More women are coming to Illinois. In fact, the number of abortions in Illinois has doubled in less than 7 years. Caring Network is committed to reaching the abortion-minded woman, the woman who gets pregnant unexpectedly and is likely to go to a Planned Parenthood or another abortion provider to end her pregnancy. Caring Network needs your help to reach her first. You can help this effort by making a one-time donation of $150. That amount will make it possible for Caring Network to reach 5 women who are considering abortion. Reaching her first means providing services like telehealth counseling with a nurse or scheduling an in-person appointment to show a pregnant woman her baby on an ultrasound. To learn more and to make a donation to Caring Network, just go to 560theanswer.com/caring. That's 560theanswer.com/caring.
The following heartwarming yet informative scene is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Son, your grandpa and I used to work on this car together, and when I'm gone, I want you to have it.
Wow. Thanks, Dad.
Doesn't count. What you need is a will. Luckily, Trust and Will makes it easy. Designed by attorneys, but customized by you, you can easily create a state-specific, legally valid document that actually counts. Now, let's let the engine do the talking, am I right? Start your will at trustandwill.com. Use offer code COUNT for 20% off and make it count. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. For details, see trustandwill.com.
Not everyone who handles your personal information is as careful as you are, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the United States. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock will monitor hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. And if your identity's stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code at LifeLock.com. LifeLock. For the threats you can't control, terms apply.
Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's Sponsored Jobs feature helps you stand out and hire fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, about 19 minutes. Outbound, about 14 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 18 minutes. Outbound, 45 minutes. On the Eisenhower, inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 39 minutes, outbound 33 minutes. On the Stevenson, inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 37 minutes, outbound about 25 minutes. This report is sponsored by Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag. You know it's better than a limited time deal? an unlimited time deal like the Wendy's $5 biggie bag with a JBC, 4-piece nugs, fries, and a small soft drink. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon all the time. Duh. For the best deal, gotta be Wendy's. U.S. price and participation may vary. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now I check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Clouds will give way to some sun, breezy and a bit cooler today. High 58, clear chilly night tonight, low 40. It'll be sunny tomorrow, the high at 65. Sunny to partly cloudy, terrific day on Saturday, the high at 76. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering smart security systems to homes and businesses. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy and John Cass, JohnCassNews.com.
You know, I'm watching you from the magic of television.
Yes.
Doesn't he look fetching?
Magic box.
I don't really care about your good looks, Dan, but I'm watching that beautiful cigar, and I'm thinking, man, that would be good. You know, a fine Maduro cigar.
Maybe in the next segment. Yeah.
I'm not under threat from the left for smoking while I work, unlike that DHS agent that smoked a cigar after they had completed an operation in which they apparently took an illegal alien into custody, and he lit up a cigar. Hey, it's a smoke break.
Yeah.
And now the left wants him fired. I don't know why.
Unbelievable.
I guess they perceived it as like a victory cigar or something. It's not a victory cigar. It's just he enjoys cigars. He's a cigar aficionado like myself. Leave the guy alone.
When you're testifying in city council, why can't you have a cigar?
Well, I mean, when cigars were bad, I even tweeted out, cigars were okay when Clinton did it in the Oval Office.
Oh, okay.
Hey, too soon? Sorry.
Well,
no, it's not too. It's too. Eternity would be too soon for
Please don't denigrate cigar smoking.
Right.
As Rudyard Kipling famously observed, a woman is but a woman, but a cigar is a smoke. I want you to think about that.
Okay.
You know, we have a great meeting of the minds here today, but of course it pales in comparison to a meeting of three minds that happened just a few days ago. I'm talking, of course, about Jim Acosta and Sean Penn and Eric Swalwell pouring over the Trump administration's performance, in which Sean Penn... do we call them state-run actors now with the tariffs and incentives?
He looks bad. He's had some hard living. Did you see him?
No.
He looked awful.
No.
Yeah. Is he still with Charlize Theron?
No, she broke up with him. She
He's not
was
on my
onto
radar.
him.
Sorry to hear that. Anyway, Sean Penn offered this subsidized take on the Trump administration.
Before Bukele gets to that point where he's dealing with another leader, we should consider worst-case scenarios. And I do think it's a reasonable theory that Donald Trump is not unlike the spouse of someone who leaves him perhaps for another, who then murders their former partner because if they can't have her, nobody can. And I think Donald Trump in his solipsism may have that relationship with the world. And that this destruction is in part a power play and also a literal intention of his final out.
Did he use the word solo?
Do you think he'll try to stay on?
I think
he might.
I think that's the same thing Madonna said about Sean Penn, ironically.
Oh, hey-oh.
Rob Long is a former writer and producer for Cheers. He's also the co-founder of Ricochet and host of the Martini Shot podcast. Rob, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
I'm happy to join you. Now, I kind of want to light up smoke now that I'm you guys.
Please do.
It's a little early
Smoke
for
them
me.
if you got them.
I got to be honest with you. I'm lightweight. It's too early for a smoke. But
Well, I mean, a
1 in the
breakfast
afternoon.
cigar is a great way to start the day, I got to say.
I do like that phrase. Breakfast cigar. There you go.
So, Rob, your most recent, one of your most recent Martini Shot podcasts, you sort of analogized an experience you had in Hollywood to, the macroeconomic policies that are being hotly debated at present. And I just wanted to get your take on both the state incentives, come shoot your film in Chicago or Atlanta, that have been longstanding to try to attract the movie business to particular states and cities, and now overlaid with the proposed Trump tariff to protect Hollywood, to make sure that Paddington's next sequel is not shot in Peru.
Well, those are two things, sort of. The local subsidies, they always sound good, right? People always talk about how they like that. Oh, that's like, we're going to bring the movie business here or there. The movie business really isn't big enough or lucrative enough to do that. In fact, whenever they do economic studies of these incentives, it always comes out that at best they broke even, which kind of means they lost money. And it's an incredible gift. I mean, I run a TV show. It was New York State, and I showed up, and they showed me the budget, and the budget was, it was expensive, right? Obviously, we're shooting a big network comedy, but we got hundreds of thousands of dollars back every episode in cash from the state. I'm like, isn't this great? Wow. And the response wasn't, and if we really do it cheaply, we can save a lot of money. The response from everybody, of course, is always the same, is now we have an extra $300,000 to spend. And so essentially the taxpayers in New York State were subsidizing the biggest line item on any budget is usually what we call above the line items. And those are, actors, directors, and writers, and people like me and people like the Star. And all they're doing is subsidizing those budgets. Money's fungible, so it goes wherever it goes. And it doesn't necessarily build an industry because, Hollywood's boom and bust. So, it seems like a really cool idea, but the actual cost on the people, on the taxpayers, on the state, on people giving out the subsidies are too high. And it's just another instance, I think, of a popular industry like Hollywood getting its bills paid by somebody else.
Well, it's also it's always sold like the Illinois Film Office. Of course, the state of Illinois has a film office.
Yeah.
They don't tout like, oh, we're going to be able to pay this A-list actor, a few $100,000 more. It's always it's union trade jobs and things that. That right. And you're suggesting that that's not exactly where the taxpayer money ends up.
That's all right. Look, they do also. They always put those requirements in. In New York City, you have to construct a set, not shoot on location at least one day or something. And you used to have an hour, so you had to hire some carpenters, you had to hire some crew, but that's not necessarily a smart thing to do.
Don't forget the caterers.
The caterers. Listen, that's what
how
makes
you doing?
That run. That's exactly right.
Call Ron and
absolutely
right.
But the truth is, the numbers don't work out. It's like you're not creating a giant carpentry business. You're just kind of hiring some people for a shoot in a business that's totally unpredictable. That's boom and bust. Look, they built all these sound stages in New York State, especially. They built all this stuff. They invested all this stuff in this because they thought, the movie business is expanding, it'll never shrink. And now the movie business is having an absolute heartbreaking and terrible recession. I mean, people in LA are moving out. There's no work, and so there's just empty sound stages. Like, you don't need to do anything. Look, people want to make movies. They've got to make movies. You don't have to pay them to make movies.
And so, what you mean? The taxpayer shouldn't be forced to pay them to make movies, right?
Yeah. Right, exactly.
They got to make dog movies.
Yeah, that's right.
Movies that people want to see.
Yeah, more like cop dog buddy movies.
Yeah,
like K9. Yeah, that's what.
Like Turner and Hooch.
Like Turner and Hooch. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Turner and Hooch. That's what it was. Yeah. Jim Belushi, right? Yeah.
A great actor.
No, that was Tom Hanks, I think.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's Tom Hanks. Well, it was Jim Belushi and I'm conflating
Dog de
films.
Bordeaux.
I'm conflating buddy cop films. I can't distinguish between dogs and some of these actors.
I don't know how you could possibly do that. They're so distinct.
Yes. So this recession that's going on in Hollywood that you're discussing, is that creative destruction, or is that too much foreign competition? The other countries are subsidizing their film industry more, so we need to protect our film industry.
No, I mean, but God, the worst thing we could do is protect our film industry. No, what it means is the reason of recession isn't really the foreign competition. It's that they built too much. Look, everybody knows that. How many streaming services do you not get and do you get? Like the idea that we all had all this time. Look, I mean, you know, they built Hulu and Paramount and Netflix and Max and
HBO Max,
Tubi and HBO Max. And it's like there's so many of them you can't keep track, right? And Americans are not subscribing to all of them. So they spent too much money. I mean, look, this is a big economic argument. Netflix decided to do this at a time when interest rates were basically zero, so they could go to the banks or to Wall Street, and they could just borrow money at 0%, basically. It's all borrowed money. It's like these are bonds, not stock price. And they decided to make TV shows, and they made so many of them. I mean, I think about a third of the things that are on the Netflix servers, like no one has ever seen. So they made TV shows that nobody watched, and then everybody had to also make TV shows that nobody watched. So pretty much, we've all had that experience. Like people will say, "Hey, you're watching this show?" You're like, "I've never heard of it." That's a sign that there was overbuilding. That's a bubble. That's what that is. And now the bubble's popped, and everybody's got to figure out what to do next. But this is a normal economic thing. It does not need the government's help. It does not need the government intervention. It certainly doesn't need any taxpayer money. Let these guys sort it out themselves. Some people will stay in the business and do great. Some people will learn to do something else, and that is how it's supposed to work.
Exactly.
Well, why isn't there any good sitcom or even like thriller series on network TV anymore? Did all the talent migrated to Apple and Paramount Plus? What's going on there?
Well, no, I mean, there's some. I mean, I don't know. There's some good comedies on TV. Most of the good comedies, I think, are on broadcast. I wish that they were making more of them because that's what I do. And at some point, they decided to stop making them. And so at some point, I, kind of like did other things. But the truth about it is that you can find good shows everywhere. It's just that there's so many of them, it's hard to find. So it feels like there aren't any good comedies. I mean, I think there's a couple good comedies on broadcast. I think CBS has a funny show called Ghosts. And they have another funny little comedy mystery show called Elspeth that's pretty good. And they have other things on that are actually doing well, but in a universe of 9 billion jillion shows.
Yeah.
Look, it takes you longer sometimes to find the show than it takes you to watch it.
Rob, isn't faith-based stuff hot right now?
Yeah, well,
I've downloaded the Chosen app and I watch that on my phone, and
the guys who are doing The Chosen are doing great. I mean, and they are. I don't know where they are in it in the story, but they're they are meticulously going through it, and they've managed to do a thing that if you said to me 5-10 years ago, they're gonna some people are going to be doing what is essentially kind of a harmonized New Testament, and we're going to put it on TV. Or the Gospels, really. I would have said, that's insane, never do it. That's going to be a big problem. But these guys did it, mostly because they have the credibility in that community to do it. And then there's the story of David. They're doing David, too. I mean, look, if you read the Hebrew Bible, I mean, there is a
lot of violence
there. It is a movie and a half. That stuff is like you talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. My God, that's like compared to what you got in the Hebrew Bible. You got all this great stuff, and a lot of it, and that's crazy and bloody and passionate, and it's perfect. I mean, you do not have to come up with new stories. There are no new stories. The old stories are just being repeated, which is the way it's supposed to be.
Just like Bonanza, go to the Old Testament, pull out a script, right?
Let's. We don't have to go that far, but yeah,
John
yes.
Well, so it's interesting. So we're in a medium that is undergoing a transformation, like newspapers did, like Hollywood is now. Where you have to sort of rethink what the revenue model is in order to be successful. And so, where is Hollywood and the movie and television industry right now? How do you think this winds itself out in, say, the next 5 years?
Well, I'm a professional optimist. I believe in that things get better, and that it's going to get better because people are going to figure it out. So what I think is going to happen is what I think really happened was that the companies and the creatives just got too far away from the customer. And so they ended up doing stuff that the customer was like, oh, that's fine, but I don't love it. I mean, I don't need it. I don't need this. I don't need that. I mean, remember, what built Netflix? The reason that Netflix is Netflix isn't really so much that they used to rent DVDs to you. It's just that when they started a streaming service, they had on popular reruns that people wanted to watch. They made their business on The Office, on Friends, on Cheers reruns. That's what was these are the top 4 or 5 shows on Netflix for years running. And instead of learning from that and saying, okay, this is what we need to do, we need to come up with shows just like this, they decided, well, we don't want that. Let's come up with something more weird and sophisticated and that demands that the viewer watch 4 episodes of incredibly boring backstory before the story begins. All of that stuff drove the customer away at a time when the customer had some real choices, especially the young ones. I mean, I don't know if you know any young people, but they can sit there for 2 hours scrolling through TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I think it's destroying their brain, and I think it's dangerous, but they could do it. And I'd rather have them sitting, for 2 hours slack-jawed in front of a show that I made because I get paid for that, right? So, the business will figure it out because the best thing about Hollywood is that it is decentralized chaos. So there isn't, there aren't like these, they don't have a big meeting ahead of time and decide what they're going to do. They're just all making it up as they go along. And there isn't that much that they're invested in except the intellectual property and kind of the creative minds of the people who work there. So they're going to figure this out. The question is whether they're going to do something dumb in Washington, like, help them. Usually when Washington comes to help you, it doesn't really matter who the president is. And there's a lot about this one that is, you can really praise, and this particular part of it is just stupid. Do not do this. Do not get involved in this. Do not touch this hot stove. Let the people who have the skin in the game sort it out, and they will.
What about the woke agenda shows? Like, I'm hearing, I don't watch it, but I'm hearing Victor Davis Hanson lament about The Last of Us, where the Pedro Pascal is killed off.
What if people haven't seen that episode yet? No, it happened in the second episode.
Yeah.
I've been watching that show.
Yeah, right.
It happened already. So I'm not watching it. But what happened? You kill off the star, and then you insert
You find a lesbian. That's what they did. They found a lesbian co-star.
Not watching it. But,
formulaic.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I mean.
They found one. It's like a.
No, they just introduce one. They just shove it down your throat at every angle.
So does that work?
See that breakdown, the cat's breakdown. Need a lesbian. Need a lesbian to save the show. Look, the woke agenda is. Look, it appeals to a niche, right? There are people who want to watch that stuff. There's just not enough people to make any money. So they're either gonna figure that part out or they're not. But I mean, but people are looking. The business itself is pretty responsive to pain. Physical pain comes in Hollywood when you don't have money. That's the most painful thing that could possibly happen to you, and it's sort of happening. And so you're either going to learn that or you're going to die. And there are people who are learning it right now. And you downloaded the Chosen app, but you could watch the Chosen on. I think it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
If they wanted to, if these guys wanted to, they're going to they're making more money this way. But if they wanted to, they could put that on broadcast television. I don't think there is a broadcast network that would not want the Chosen on their airwaves. They just put it on in a second. Problem is that the guys making it, they want to make it their way, and they don't want to have any help, but they don't have any commercials, and they want to keep all the money themselves, and they are certainly entitled to do that. So,
before we let you go, I didn't see who you wore at the Met Gala the other day. I was just wondering.
Oh, I went as a giant cigar.
Perfect. Perfect.
It's Halloween, isn't it? It's Halloween for people who think they're too cool for Halloween.
Well, the funniest thing about the Met Gala, which I know was sort of founded by Vogue, but it was driven by Coco Chanel and Hugo Boss, who were two Nazi sympathizers. Just point of order. I know that's completely that the Hollywood dilettantes are completely oblivious to this, but it always just.
Is this the first time Coco Chanel has been mentioned on your show?
No, it is not. No, it is not. Thank you for asking.
That's impressive.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I've got the same Coco Chanel couch that Kelsey Grammer had in Frasier. How about that?
Okay, wow, that's good. That's good.
Rob Long is a former writer, producer for Cheers, co-founder of Ricochet, and host of the Martini Shot podcast. Rob, thank you as always.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. We'll have you back. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer. insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
Virago is fending off viruses and making America healthy again.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. I'm one of the co-founders of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Here are what some Virago users have to say.
I started using Virago a little more than a year ago. I have 3 school-age kids, and they are constantly bringing home whatever bug is going around school, whether it's a cold, a sore throat, whatever it is. Everyone in the house was getting sick. I started taking Virago to help boost my immune system, and it worked. I haven't been sick since starting Virago. I use just a half a dose daily unless I feel like I'm getting something. Then I'll take a full dose for a day or 2, and I'm fine. I also feel great and more on top of my game, like my memory is sharper. I'm not forgetting things. I absolutely recommend Virago.
Boost your immune system with Virago. Order your bottle today. Visit myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com.
And use promo code IMMUNE to get 30% off.
That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Virago and Maha, making America healthy again.
At almostfreeteeth.com, they're dedicated to making smiles great again. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get a beautiful dental implant supported smile. Check if you qualify right now at almostfreeteeth.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:08, our most recent installment of Sports and Politics will tackle J.D. Vance disgracing himself by praising soccer. That's 8:08.
Oh, boy. Oh, my. Oh, I'm going to sit this one out. It's 8 a.m. WIND Chicago.
After all the tariffs, a deal. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It's a trade agreement with Britain. President Trump will detail it next hour. After posting on Truth Social, it's a full and comprehensive deal with the UK, cementing our relationship.
The president sees this as the first of many deals to come.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff at the White House.
The agreement is the first since the president imposed and then later paused stiff tariffs put in place on countries at the beginning of April. The UK is subject to 25% levies on steel, aluminum, and cars, and does fall under that 10% global tariff. Right now, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and U.S. Trade Rep Jamieson Greer are preparing to arrive in Switzerland, where tense trade talks with China are expected to happen there. Tariffs on China remain at 145%.
There's concern those tariffs could lead to inflation and hurt the economy. Yet the Federal Reserve decided against making an interest rate cut like the president wanted yesterday. So on Truth Social, a Trump post this morning called Fed Chairman Jerome Powell a fool who doesn't have a clue. It happened to Colombia again. And that anti-Israel protest last night escalated when some of the pro-Palestinian demonstrators moved into the main library on the university's New York City campus. Police came in, arrested more than 80 students. Acting Columbia President Claire Shipman says,
these actions not only represented a violation of university policies, but they also posed a serious risk to our students and campus safety.
Black smoke rose again this morning at the Vatican, where thousands are gathered waiting for a new pope to be picked.
I was born and raised Catholic, so this is like a huge event for me. We keep calling it the Catholic Super Bowl.
It's crazy. You can feel the energy. There's a ton of people here, and yeah, it's wild.
Now, the black smoke this morning meant another 2 rounds of voting without the 2/3 consensus needed at the conclave, where 133 cardinals remain locked inside the Sistine Chapel, sworn to secrecy. They'll vote twice more today. Whenever they do select a replacement for Pope Francis, weeks after he died, white smoke will come out of the chimney. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 51 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. A new report says President Trump plans to revive a controversial idea that would lower drug prices.
According to Politico, Trump is expected to sign an executive order early next week that would direct his staff to pursue most favored nation pricing for drugs within the Medicare program. MFN pricing would ensure that Medicare gets the same low drug prices that drug makers offer to other countries. Trump announced a similar plan during his first term, but it faced strong opposition from the pharmaceutical industry. I'm Michael Kastner.
And President Trump says he might rename the Persian Gulf during his upcoming visit to the Middle East.
Trump spoke to reporters Wednesday about his scheduled trip to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, and was asked about recent reports that he was going to rename the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Gulf.
I'll have to make a decision.
Saudi Arabia and other Arab states have commonly called it the Arabian Gulf. Iran's foreign minister, however, says the proposed name change is politically motivated and intended to anger Iranians all over the world and agitate them. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
This Sunday is Mother's Day. It's not too late to get a present. In 13 states, a floral bouquet was the most popular gift. In others, it's food or wine. A teenage boy was wounded after he was shot outside of a school on the south side. Police say the 14-year-old was outside of Wendell Phillips Academy on East 37th Street yesterday when someone approached him and fired shots. The teen was hit in the leg and taken to the hospital in fair condition. No arrests have been made. An investigation is underway following a home invasion and armed robbery in Oak Lawn. Police say 2 masked men broke into a home yesterday in the area of 90th Street and Sprout Avenue. They pointed a gun at the homeowner and took the items from the home. News is a service of Quick Delivery Service. Make Quick Delivery Service your personal ground crew. Anytime, anywhere, any place. When you need to move your shipment or freight, Quick Delivery will get it there. Get a quote in advance and eliminate any surprises at quickdelivery.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes, but now time for the Signature Bank Business Beat.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
President Trump says he will unveil a full and comprehensive trade agreement with the United Kingdom at 10 a.m. Eastern Time today. Stock futures are higher in anticipation of progress on the trade dispute. Also, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is to meet with China's representatives in Switzerland this weekend. The Federal Reserve left interest rates unchanged yesterday. President Trump this morning responded, calling Fed Chair Jerome Powell a fool who doesn't have a clue. But the president said other than that, he likes Powell very much. Toyota says U.S. tariffs will cost it an estimated $1.2 billion for April and May alone. Its earnings for the year ending in March were down from a year earlier, but higher than previously expected. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda, invested in you.
Wow. At the time of this being written, both gold and silver are up some 40%. That's 40% in just 1 year. In fact, this past year, gold has broken all-time historic records by hundreds of dollars an ounce. And unlike all other financial instruments used today, that historic record goes back thousands of years. In times like these, prices have never been better on most collector and gold coins. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is trying to keep up with demand. So they're paying the most ever on not only most gold coins and bars, but also those old coin and paper money collections. They're especially looking for the scarcer dates and higher grade coins. Take advantage of the record high market price and our huge demand now, whether you're buying or selling, or just want to find out their worth. Fox Valley Coins is the place to go. Fox Valley Coins is on Route 59, just 1 light north of I-88 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-505-8709. 800-505-8709. 800-505-8709.
Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless. There is a better way. Pure Talk, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a better offer. The brand new free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan for $35 a month. You get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data, all on America's most dependable 5G network. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan. Pure Talk, wireless by Americans for Americans.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-893-2288. 800-893-2288. 800-893-2288.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 20 minutes. Outbound, 21 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 20 minutes. Outbound, 39 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 47 minutes. Outbound, 33 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 38 minutes. On the outbound side, 27 minutes. Traffic is a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at almostfreeteeth.com, making smiles great again. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now checking your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Clouds giving way to some sunshine, breezy and cool today, high near 58. Clear chilly night, low tonight 40. It'll be a sunny day tomorrow, the high 65. For Saturday, sunny to partly cloudy, very nice day, a bit warmer, high Saturday 76. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Sports and politics and sports and politics and sports and politics and intersection. Arrogance and ignorance. Arrogance, ignorance, and arrogance and ignorance. Intersection.
Top of the morning, Dan, Amy, and John Cass of JohnCassNews.com.
And I have to make a public apology. I just sat down with the HR director here. I made a mistake. I apologize. It won't happen again. But some mistakes are wonderful mistakes, and we get to spend more time with John Cass. And you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Well,
being a stroke survivor,
Dan's
you're just
so excited.
He's
running around in circles.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, we'll do a quick detour.
Yes, please.
Amy put in for today off, and she showed up, which is why we're the 3 today.
Right.
And then this happened when she showed up.
You're under arrest for trespassing.
Sir?
Ma'am?
Get off of me. I'm not doing it.
You are under arrest for trespassing.
You are not. No.
Yes.
Why am I trespassing? Because I'm supposed to be on the
They've
property.
said you need to leave.
Sir, I'm walking away. Please don't touch me. What are you doing? I'm not doing anything to you, sir. I'm just on the ground. Oh, my God.
There was a bit of a tussle. She was taken away in cuffs, Amy was. But then John Cass invade on me to have some empathy, not press charges for coming in on her day off. And I relented.
Was that Jasmine Crockett?
No, it was actually an Amazon worker who got arrested for coming in on her day off.
Seriously?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh.
They accused her of trespassing. Go home. She wouldn't go home. And... so some mistakes.
She wants to work.
You're lucky I am merciful.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
Hard working.
Right.
Did she bring her? Yeah, okay.
Even brought a dog and some food with. Oh, my gosh.
All right. Well, since everybody's here, and I'm glad John Cass stayed because this was a bit of a controversy. Some people, are saying that J.D. Vance just disqualified himself from ever being president of the United States when this happened yesterday.
As all of you know, soccer is a sport of incredible grace and finesse and beauty. These are 3 things that have nothing to do with politics, and so we're thrilled to have the FIFA World Cup in the United States of America. I think that you'll see the very best of the United States of America, both in athletic competition but also in hospitality, something our boss knows quite a bit about. And so we're excited to have you. We're excited for this event, and we will do everything at the government level to make this thing as successful as we can. And I will say, before I turn it over to the next speaker, that, of course, everybody is welcome to come and see this incredible event. I know we'll have visitors probably from close to 100 countries. We want them to come. We want them to celebrate. We want them to watch the game. But when the time is up, they'll have to go home. Otherwise, they'll have to talk to Secretary Noem, who I'll turn it over to now.
Well, a lot of people on the left are upset about that little funny he made about, overstaying your visa for these athletes and saying that FIFA should not, these teams should not come here, should boycott. America.
It's not like they're Columbia
So on and so
graduate
forth.
students.
Well, I mean, I agree that that no one should come. I mean, I don't think it'll be difficult to not have fans come, but I'm more focused on that propaganda.
It really
that J.D.
frosts
Vance
you that
said.
Trump, that J.D. Vance, who is, in my opinion, the best candidate to come after Trump.
Well, of course, now you say that.
I've always said that.
But
Yeah, because you knew he
And
was
now
a soccer enabler.
It frosts you. I wish I smoked right now so I could have one and enjoy your
don't inhale.
contretemps.
Disqualifying statement, J.D. Vance on soccer, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line if you want to weigh in.
Trump supports it, and
agree.
therefore you're going to support it whether you like it or not.
Where is the FIFA World Cup being held? Carpentersville?
Oh, stop it. You know what? I don't know. I'm going to look it up.
Nobody knows or
Well,
cares. I don't think J.D. Vance knows.
You don't think so?
He just read that press release from FIFA. That's what he was doing. That's it. Nothing else, John?
It
You
should be-
sure?
J.D. Vance is the best and perfect candidate to replace Donald Trump. And now that he likes soccer and appreciates the beauty of the game, you can gnash your teeth all you want and chew your little cigar all you want because
Wow. Okay.
that's enough.
The 2026
was that some sort of shot at my manhood? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
FIFA World Cup locations: Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Vancouver, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Kansas City, Dallas, Houston, Atlanta,
Kansas City,
Boston,
get some ribs.
New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, and Miami. Oh, Chicago's not on the list.
It's the World Cup. Is that
And
the,
it's in 2026.
yeah. Well,
So
Yeah, I can't wait to see who wins the championship, Spain or Portugal. Tony in Downers Grove, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Tony, be careful before you start. If you're jumping on Dan, I'm going to know where you live, okay?
You're going to get a Chumbalone Award.
Actually, John, I was wondering if they could just meld this together with Cinco de Mayo and get it all over with at one time.
Yeah,
But
one day.
the interesting thing about soccer is, especially the European fans, they're really a microcosm of the European attitude. The soccer fans are smug, arrogant, and yes, their sport is really popular, but not here. But they think it is.
it is popular here. Have you ever?
Please let Tony speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I gone done it.
She pressed the button. I bet you
I
pressed
didn't touch any button.
No, it's just that you live down to Tony's characterization of soccer fans as being smug. You won't even let him make a statement.
Well, I live near A.J. Hudson, so they have soccer in
Who's
the middle of
that?
the night. It's a bar that is a soccer
my sons
bar.
go there. My
And
sons
people,
go to that bar
They
and
go.
watch
They're
soccer.
open at 2 a.m. I don't think the rules apply to them because if there's a soccer match on in Europe, they're there at the bar. The place is packed.
Yeah, well, that's the other aspect that Tony didn't get to. A bunch of hooligans.
Oh,
Unlike
the
bar,
carousing at
unlike
2
the
a.m.
Grand Avenue bar, Richards,
remember
where
that
you
one.
could smoke.
Well, that's
At
a
least you
a
were able
civilized
to.
place. Yes, exactly.
I can't smoke. I don't smoke. Betty, you hearing this? I don't.
Yeah, yeah. Your secrets are safe with us. Mike in Union.
Yeah, I thought the disqualifier was that he liked soccer because it was always for people that couldn't play baseball. Dan, kind of with you. And John, he did invite you on the show. So, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, Dan, so you've never even have you ever kicked a soccer ball?
So I have to be.
Wait,
I
hold on.
have to be nice to him now that he invited me on the show.
No, you don't have
And then conveniently, he's got Amy here to muscle me off.
Yeah. Right. Dan, did you guys ever play? I mean, in elementary, in middle school, and high school, did you ever play soccer?
I grew up as a boy.
Oh,
Dan, I bet you played kickball, didn't you? In gym?
I bet he did.
I was compelled to in gym. Yeah.
Well, did you
Go
climb the
Go
ropes? to
stand
this?
by the girls, Dan.
No, that's closer to like baseball than it is soccer.
What about
you have
dodgeball?
innings, you have outs.
Yes.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Nothing like that.
Ouch.
You do.
Innings. You got 45 minutes and a half. That's it. Be a man.
Andy in Dallas, Texas.
I like this new morning zoo format. I hope you do it for a while. So I'm in town and I'm staying at Oakbrook because we just sold our final piece of Illinois real estate. I'm at the Oakbrook Hotel out here last night watching my adopted city, the Dallas Stars, play the Winnipeg Jets. On the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, there's some soccer game going on. And just as I lift my camera to take a picture to send to my wife, one of these soccer guys is down on the ground, writhing in pain, until he gets the call, and then he jumps up and starts running around again.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's the greatest game on one side and the gayest game on the other.
Those are, those I would say that those are fighting words, but then I'd be ostracized.
I mean, the NBA has turned into soccer too because of
with
LeBron
and the flops.
Yeah,
come on, give me a break.
That's why it's unwatchable because it's starting to mirror soccer.
My favorite, I coached this one kid, Ben, and he's a greatest soccer player. He's in CPS, and he started playing volleyball. I'm like, hey, we just need you, for a little bit. And he turned out, and he would fall down like, oh, like, Ben, get up. This isn't soccer. Stand up right now.
Being the greatest soccer.
You're joining Dan on this like hysterical rant.
Like being the greatest soccer player is like being the greatest fast walker. It's not a sport. It's a calisthenic.
Yeah, says the golfer who rides to his hole in a cart.
I'm a walker.
No, he's
I'm a
walker.
radio talker and a golf course walker.
Yeah, that's what Twitter says.
Say.
No, I've golfed with him, and whoever's driving the cart, you're not going to be in a cart with Dan. He just goes and walks to his next ball.
That's wonderful, Dan. I'm sorry I can't
the,
walk because you're now lording me over that.
Oh, yeah.
He likes being alone. So
now, that's a soccer flop right there. You just did a rhetorical soccer flop.
Like they say, go ask Jimmy to dance with his sister. And then Jimmy says, my sister's in a wheelchair, you loser.
Rick in Downers Grove.
Hey, good morning. I'd like to see if John can explain this to me, because soccer is not a sport. And
Rick,
how can
go kill Dan first and then come back.
No. How can it be a sport? I could be the goalie. Let's say I'm the goalie on a soccer team.
Yeah.
I can kick the ball. Then, after I kick the ball, I can go home, take a nap, do some laundry, grocery shop, come back, and you know what the score is going to be? 0-0.
Or maybe you'll have an exciting tie.
I think you're
the best.
Perfectly suited for politics. That's where you want to go.
Mike in Plainfield.
Hey, guys. This trio is actually amazing today. Dan, I've always been on your side. It's always been like the football jocks versus the soccer ladies growing up in high school.
Yeah.
And all three of my kids played soccer growing up, and I have no idea why. I think maybe my wife dated the soccer team in college or something. But I never enjoyed soccer until I start watching my daughter play soccer and compare it to the men's. Like, there's no flopping. They're tough as hell, and they just get at it. So you might actually want to pick up watching women's soccer instead of basketball.
Kind of like women's basketball is better than men's basketball.
Oh, yeah.
In the sense of
driving the lane for that layup.
Wow.
Oh, so exciting.
I like the 5 passes and then the underhand free throw. That's me.
Okay,
Granny
Rick Barry.
shot.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Oh, I golfed with Rick
Gene
Barry
Hackman.
once. Ooh.
You're talking about Ollie.
Ollie.
Sure.
Yeah.
John in Bridgeport.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Brandon Johnson's contingency last pitch effort to keep the Bears around in Chicago was to build a new stadium south of Soldiers Field. And one of the guys says it's for international soccer tournaments and that type of thing it could be used for. With that being said, are we finally done? Are the Bears moving to Arlington Heights? Is this over with now?
It's a done deal.
I wanted to know.
It's a done deal.
Done deal.
Thanks for the call.
I think we should go next show. You should go to Brant's and do a remote from Brant's.
We've been pushing for that for years.
Come on, I don't run this station.
What's the soccer club in
What's
Chicago?
What's the value proposition,
what are we?
Dan?
What's the soccer
Stars,
club
I
in
think?
Chicago again? The
Lauren
Chicago
Ricketts.
Chicks or something? What
Lauren
is it?
Ricketts owns part of it.
I was
and they just fired their coach. I know that. So.
Aren't they building? Aren't they trying to build a new stadium or something?
I paid for it. I put my money.
Well, the Chicago Fire. What's the story of the
They're called
Chicago
the
Fire?
Chicago
You're a big
Stars.
I don't watch the girls' game. But
Chicago Fire,
Fire?
They were
Yeah.
out of that. It was Broadview.
Bridgeview.
Yeah.
They're
So
still
where are they
playing.
now?
They're still playing in Soldier Field, I think.
Boy.
I was a season
that's a tough
ticket holder
ticket. Yeah.
for, 12, 15 years?
You were?
Yeah.
Soldier
You're
Field.
I love
I mean,
the game.
Oh.
I love the game of soccer. I love, as we call it, football.
how many people show up to a Fire game at Soldier Field? It's got to be sparse in there.
How many people show up to watch you golf?
Well, nobody, but I don't pretend to be a
Exactly.
professional athlete. That's the difference. Suzanne in Wilmette.
Hey, Suzanne.
Hi. St. Louis has a new soccer stadium. It's really beautiful. I have
Yeah.
kids down there. And Amy, just watching Olaf Melberg, who's their coach, it's worth it. I don't like sports in general, but I will watch Olaf Melberg. Look him up.
Why?
And
Why do you watch
he
it?
is really good looking.
He's
So
good
just
looking,
say
and
it, he's hot,
does he
okay?
scratch
I'll decide.
like
if
a
I wanna
baseball,
know.
like Don Zimmer?
Does he
No.
wear the short shorts
No.
like the rest of the
Like
guys?
Dave Wannstedt did?
No. He OLOF.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for the call.
Hey,
Everybody
ladies,
who plays soccer is named Olaf or something
I'm
like
looking
that.
it up.
I'm just. I gotta go slow. I'm blonde. Olaf.
St. Louis City.
Oh,
Right.
okay. I'll decide whether he's.
Dawn in Naperville.
Oh, he's married.
Hi, good morning, John. Didn't you grow up in Oak Lawn?
Yes, I did. I played for Oak Lawn baseball for boys and football
Okay,
for
so
Richards.
I grew up in Oak Lawn.
Did we
younger
know
than
each
you,
other?
But I'm just no,
Oh,
I think I'm like way younger than you. I'm way
Yeah.
younger than you. But I'm
Everybody's
curious,
younger than me.
Yeah,
really- where did you pick it up growing up in Oak Lawn? It's kind of like when someone tells me they're a Cubs fan and they grew up on the south side. I just kind of like scratched my head and was
All right.
like, where the
When he
heck-
washed out of badminton, he took up soccer. Thanks for the call, Dawn.
I grew up in Oak Lawn playing the American sports because I wanted to be an American.
Oh my God.
I was an immigrant kid.
Right.
I'm an immigrant kid, and I wanted to be an American. So I played football and I played baseball. I was a catcher.
Matt in Oak. Boy,
And then I watched my
joke in there
sons.
somewhere about soccer.
And my sons picked up the game, and we were watching. They were watching on their computer. I had it moved down into the living room because they're boys, and I wanted the computer in the living room at that moment. And they said, "Dad, you got to see this." And I'm watching the Bears Packers. I go, "Come on, see this." No. They had the video and the highlights of John Terry,
Who is that?
left center back, all-time great.
What is a left center
Chelsea,
back?
like a linebacker who can run.
Yeah, right. And then falls if somebody touches him.
I don't think.
By the way, guys,
go tell him and see what happens.
Olaf is very easy on the eyes.
Yeah, but as I said,
I
like
saw him on
everybody in soccer is named Olaf.
Well,
I mean, that's the whole.
Dan and I might
Melberg
turn
is-
gay to like him.
Matt in Oak Lawn.
Hey, good morning, guys. So few years back, me and a couple of buddies were in Ireland, and we go to some tavern, and big soccer match is going on, and three of us, neither one of us knew anything about soccer, but they got the bookmakers all over the place. So the bartender tells us who to bet. So we pull our money together, go put it on one of the teams, and we get all in. So for a very long game, low-scoring game, we're cheering our brains out because we got our beer money, on this game.
Right.
Game ends, we think we win. We're going crazy. We're laughing. We had a great time. And we bet the wrong team. We had no idea we were cheering for the wrong team the whole time.
Who could tell? Yeah.
The bartender goes, "You dumb Yanks." He goes, "Everyone in this bar knew you were cheering for the wrong team all day, but blah, blah, blah." It was
that's
pretty fun.
great.
So what did you do then? Go out in the field and start hitting the ball with a bat and call it hurling?
It's an easy mistake to make. Yeah.
The guy was going to put a bear game on for us afterwards. We wouldn't leave the place. We wouldn't leave our seats, so we were betting soccer.
Nice.
No
Thanks for
good deed goes unpunished.
Thanks for the call, Matt. Yeah, right. Yeah, that was
Good
the
Oak
one.
Lawn
That was
boy.
the one downside of my trip to Ireland last fall to play golf, which is you go to these bars in these local towns, and this calisthenic was on all the TVs.
Did you at least go fishing when you were in Ireland?
Did not have time to
golfing.
fish.
Fish?
What?
The man golfed.
Did not have time to fish. It was a quick trip. Had to get in the golf.
There's always time. You called Steve, the pilot, is waiting to go with you since I can't go.
Yeah, I want to go. I want to go back to that place up there.
Oh, that's a beautiful place.
Joe in Crestwood.
Morning, guys. Wanted to just share a little story. I have a huge water retention area right behind my house, and for the last 20 years, I've seen the kids play baseball back there, and then they would play tackle football, and now they seem to have all started lacrosse.
Oh yeah,
I think a lot of the parents are keeping their kids out of tackle football, and lacrosse is very, very big in especially the south suburbs where I'm at. But the one thing I never saw in those 20 years is anybody play soccer.
Because lacrosse is a game.
Thanks for the call, Joe.
Give boys a stick. There's
and girls. Lacrosse is big.
My son's called it soccer without skill.
Lacrosse, no, that's not. Lacrosse is a sport because one of the requirements to be a sport is you have to be able to use your hands, and you can in lacrosse and you can't in soccer, which again speaks to
that makes it harder. Which makes
you might as well just spend 3 hours or some untimed period of time jumping rope. Dan, Amy, John Cash, Chicago's Morning
Tell
Answer.
that to Pele.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Right now, MyPillow is having 2 sales in one. The first is a closeout sale on Percale bed sheets. Any size and any color, just $25. That's right. You can even get queens, kings, split kings, and cow kings. Any size and any color, just $25. 11 colors to choose from. When they're gone, they're gone. The second sale is a new energy drink called Rev 7, a premium energy drink that is actually good for you. It tastes great and gives you energy all day. Plus, it has no sugar, no caffeine, so you don't experience those jitters and crashes that we've all been through with the other energy drinks. What makes Rev 7 so special is that it's powered with a premium nootropic that helps fuel your mind and provides the most efficient and cleanest fuel ever. For a limited time, get an introductory 3-pack absolutely free. These amazing offers won't last long, so order now. Just go to mypillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
The summer heat in Chicagoland is no joke. And if your old air conditioner is making funny noises, you may already know it's time for a new unit.
Look, your air conditioner, it's a disaster. People are telling me it's the worst ever.
Don't sweat it, literally. When it comes to cooling your home, Airride Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Rebates are still available, financing is flexible, and at Airride installations are smooth and professional with no surprises.
It's beautiful. Some people say it's the coolest air anyone's ever felt. I don't know. That's just what they're saying. It's doing an incredible job. Really tremendous.
Plus, tell them AM 560 sent you, and Airride will give you $56 off any service. Visit Airride Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Airride Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
Attention American homeowners, you're under attack. Your home and equity could be vulnerable to cyber thieves. There's only one company that completely stops them, and that company is Equity Protect. Equity Protect prevents any attempts to steal your home, equity, and ownership 24/7. Get your free risk report today by texting the word HOME to 94878. That's right, text the word HOME to 94878 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with Equity Protect.
AM 560, The Answer.
Our general manager was just in the studio. Former D1 player at Villanova. He was a center back.
What's a center back?
Dan.
Explain what the center back is.
Your boss
defensive and offensive.
likes the game, the beautiful game.
And what's the big announcement? AM 560 is going to be airing what game?
They're gonna be doing soccer, and John Cass News will buy commercial time on that broadcast to have Dan in his little shorts going out and kicking a goal at halftime, and you and the Prime Minister.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, I'll see our general manager and raise you, our producer George, who makes the excellent point that I thought we need to keep men out of girls' sports, and soccer's a girls' sport.
Oh.
You know what?
Good point.
I got two guys who are going to be at my house on Sunday.
Yeah.
Come and say that.
8:38, John, you wanted a good news source for what's going on with the Chinese Communist Party's economy. Yeah. Stephen Mosher, president of the Population Research Institute, joins us at 8:38 to explain why he believes China is losing the tariff war. That's 8:38.
But now let's head back into that newsroom, and here's Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 51 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Chicago aldermen are signing off on Mayor Johnson's plan to create more affordable housing with taxpayer money. The mayor was pleased after the city council approved his green social housing ordinance.
What we're doing is we're moving with expediency around building more affordable units.
The measure will create an independent nonprofit designed to spur the development of environmentally friendly affordable housing units across the city. The nonprofit will be funded with $135 million from the Johnson Housing and Economic Development Bond. Trump Tower Management is moving fences with no trespassing signs near Chicago's Riverfront Plaza. City officials ordered hotel management to allow public 24-hour access to pedestrians near the site of North Wabash Avenue. If the barriers weren't taken down, the city would have pursued enforcement options, including seeking a court order. Chicago 42nd Alderman Brennan Rowley says that the Department of Planning and Development acted in response to complaints from his constituents. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
It's almost time once again for the annual AM 560 Golf Outing, presented by Signature Bank. And this year, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation to help them support America's first responder and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. This year, our golf outing is happening on Wednesday, June 18th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. When you purchase a foursome to join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. And if you're a business owner, when you purchase a foursome, you'll also receive an AM 560 marketing campaign, which includes 25 one-minute commercials to air on AM 560 Monday through Friday between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m., and a free digital marketing analysis. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Quick Delivery Service and by State Farm Insurance Agent Anthony DeGrotto.
Hello, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. I'm one of the co-developers of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Laboratory studies have shown that certain nutraceuticals are very effective against herpes simplex 1 viruses. These nutraceuticals are also found in Virago. And here is another proud user of Virago.
Hi, my name is Yolanta. I'm proud user of Virago. For my entire life, I suffer from major symptoms of herpes simplex 1. I had regular major outbreaks in my mouth and nose. Then I was introduced to Virago. Within 2 weeks, my symptoms significantly reduced, and presently I have no symptoms, and I have credited this to taking Virago on a regular basis. Virago changed my life. I can't recommend it enough.
Order your bottle of Virago today online at myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. myvirago.com. Coupon code IMMUNE. Maha and Virago, making America healthy again.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 15 minutes. Outbound, 20 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn interchange, 21 minutes. Outbound, about 28 minutes. On the Eisenhower, inbound from Wolf to the old post office, 45 minutes. Outbound, 29 minutes. On the Stevenson, inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 38 minutes. Outbound, about 26 minutes. On the Dan Ryan, inbound from 95th to the Burn Interchange, 27 minutes. This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Don't postpone better sleep. Shop Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale now. Upgrade to a premium bed from a curated selection and take your rest to the next level. Don't miss out. Visit Mattress Firm today. Get matched. Sleep at night. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Clouds will give way to some sun, breezy and a bit cooler today. High 58, clear chilly night tonight, low 40. It'll be sunny tomorrow, the high at 65. Sunny to partly cloudy, terrific day on Saturday, the high at 76. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, as we mentioned earlier in the program in conversation with Jim Urio. We've got an announcement forthcoming today that is expected to be the framework of a trade deal between the United States and the UK. So that would be the first deal delivered in principle, with more to come, says Scott Bessent. And, of course, he and the trade team are meeting with the Chinese Communist Party representatives in Switzerland over the weekend. Stephen Mosier says that China is losing the tariff war. Don't believe Chinese communist propaganda, which is basically a position you should take on everything all the time. But he's got some details in terms of why he believes that China is already being crippled, or certainly on the way to being crippled, with respect to the tariffs that have been imposed. And perhaps so crippled at some point, if an arrangement isn't forged, that the very regime, the very Xi regime, is under threat. Stephen Mosier is the president of the Population Research Institute, an expert on China, and author of The Devil in Communist China, From Mao Down to Xi. Stephen Mosier, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you guys this morning.
So lay it out the case for us. What are you seeing? What evidence do you have to support the claim that China is getting hammered by the Trump approach?
Well, let's start with the fact that there are hundreds of container ships now sitting empty off China's ports, waiting for cargo that will never come, because that cargo is destined for the United States before the tariffs, and the tariffs have simply priced it out of the market. The evidence comes from the wharves, where there are piles and piles of containers stacked 7 and 8 high, filled with goods that are unsaleable because they've been made for the U.S. market, you see, and nobody else in the world wants to buy them. Chinese manufacturers are trying to dump some of those goods in China itself. That's an impossible dream, because Xi Jinping has already told the Chinese people to tighten their belts. In the Chinese, the phrase is "chirku," which means to eat bitterness. The last time the Chinese people had to eat bitterness, they were eating trees and tree bark and grass during the famine after the Great Leap Forward, and 50 million people died. So no one in China who has any money is going to spend any money other than on necessities. 10 million people will be out of work in the next 2 weeks. That's Scott Bessent, the Secretary of the Treasury, speaking. That number will double to 20 million and 30 million in a couple of months. So China has major problems on its hands. People need to understand that we only take about 16% of China's exports. That's 1 in every 6 items that China makes comes to the U.S. But that accounts for 50% of the profits of the export sector. Why? Because we buy in bulk and we pay on time. Little shipments to Africa, little shipments to Southeast Asia. Good luck getting paid. Good luck selling those goods. We're the prime market. And if they lose our market, which they now have because of the tariffs, the export sector of the economy is toast. It's shutting down. There's nothing else in China that works. If they lose the export sector, they've already lost the construction sector. Major developers have gone bankrupt. They've already lost the demography. Because of the one-child policy, China's population is now literally shrinking from year to year. Half of the graduates of college this year can't find jobs, and they've been looking for months. So China's in dire shape. I think China's in the same position now that the Soviet Union was, say, in 1989. Think about that.
Where can you go to
Soviet Union collapsed.
Where can you go to get credible news? Because as you're speaking, I'm thinking, as a former merchant sailor, I would think you'd go to Lloyd's of London, somebody like that. But where can you go to find out what's happening in China? Because I hear now that there are protests, but I don't trust the news media.
Well, you have to be careful in the sources you go to. I go to Chinese sources. Some videos, some information does leak out of China. The censorship regime is working overtime to try to hide the chaos from the world, as you would imagine. But we still have some sources in China. And by the way, my son is a graduate of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, so I know a lot about where cargo ships are these days.
And where are the cargo ships? Because the cargo ship supervisor out of L.A. said that they're down 35%. Is that true? Are they real? And are they turning them around?
Well, there was a huge front loading of goods to the United States in the months leading up to the tariffs. Okay, now a lot of those ships were in the mid-Pacific when the tariffs were announced. They turned around and went back, and have now been unloaded. So 50% of the contracts, the bookings for merchant vessels from China to the U.S. have been canceled, 50%. And if you look at the numbers, the tariffs price about 80% of the goods from China out of the market. So you're making $400 billion before the tariffs. Now you may sell about $80 billion worth of goods. They're losing hundreds of billions of dollars. That's money they cannot replace anywhere else.
So where does the internal pressure on Xi Jinping come from?
Well, it comes from two sources. It comes from massive demonstrations in the streets. The demonstrations are loud and large and growing louder and larger. The Chinese Communist Party is very afraid of a repeat of the Tiananmen demonstrations of 1989. Remember, millions of people took to the streets in Beijing and Shanghai and Guangzhou and other major cities. At the end of the day, the Chinese Communist Party shot down unarmed protesters in the capital city of Beijing and Tiananmen Square on June 4th, 1989, killing about 10,000, rounding up tens of thousands more.
Well, there's one way to get the people on your side, and that's to start a war. When you have unrest, you start a war. You maybe pick up China or some of the islands. What do you think of that?
Yeah, no, that's a real concern, and I know that our guy in charge of the Indo-Pacific, Admiral Paparo, is thinking about that and prepared for a Chinese move against maybe Taiwan, maybe the Philippines. They're moving very, very aggressively against the Philippines and the South China Sea, maybe in Korea. They'd like probably to have a foreign distraction to distract the people in China from their empty bellies.
Exactly.
Well, another approach that has been used before, as you just referenced, is repression, and she's certainly not above that.
No, absolutely not. But the other force against Xi now are the senior Communist Party officials, some of them retired, people like the former Premier Wen Jiabao, others who are retired but still have enormous political clout within the Chinese Communist political system, and they're very unhappy. They're very unhappy because they're at risk of losing the billions of dollars that they have expropriated from the Chinese people. They're at risk, I think they believe, of losing their lives if there's a massive revolution. So Xi Jinping may be walking on the edge of a precipice right now. I wouldn't be surprised if the senior leaders got together and removed him, and then went to Trump and said, you know, we're the new team, and we really want to make nice.
Were they going to do that with Mitch McConnell? Maybe they could hire Mitch McConnell and his wife to go forward, right?
Or extend a contract. I'm not sure which.
Well, I mean, so just more evidence in support of the case that you're making is, and it's interesting because there seems President Xi, the Chinese communist dictator there, seems to be making some moves. One of the moves is to reduce tariffs on a number of American products. The other is just recently to visit his ally of convenience, Vlad Putin, in Russia. So what are we to make of those moves?
Well, China has the China Customs Administration has circulated a memo saying that 131 different American products will be exempt from the tariffs. So they've already taken about a quarter of the U.S. imports off the tariff list already, preemptively, without any concessions on our part. And as far as going to see Vladimir Putin. Yeah, I mean, Xi Jinping would like to have a major war. We already have a war between Russia and Ukraine. He'd like to see that war escalate. He'd like to see it involve NATO. He'd like to see America drawn into a conflict with Russia. Why? To deplete our munitions and disperse our forces and take some of the pressure off him so that maybe he could move on Taiwan successfully, which I don't believe he can now.
Why don't you believe that?
I don't believe that because there's a 100-mile moat between China and Taiwan, and amphibious landings are the most difficult military maneuvers in the books. I spent 8 years as a naval officer in the Far East with the 7th Fleet, and I've also been all around the island of Taiwan. Very few places you can land successfully on the island of Taiwan. And it's hard to get an invasion fleet across the Taiwan Strait. So that's a very difficult road to hoe. And I think he would only undertake it if he were in absolute desperate straits now. His plans are to invade by 2027. It's now 2025. He's not ready. The People's Liberation Army is not ready, and the invasion would fail.
What about an embargo to, say, prevent Taiwan Semiconductor from sending chips to the U.S.?
That's probably the primary concern, is trying to cut off Taiwan's 5 ports, not allowing shipping to go in or out, and the blockade would have to be broken. And so that would be, if you stop, cargo vessels from going into the port of Kaohsiung in the south or Keelung in the north, it would mean war, because Taiwan only has about 2 weeks of energy supplies on hand, and the food supplies are limited as well. So the embargo would have to be broken, and that would mean war. Now, Chinese naval vessels, by the way, are built with reinforced bows. So we're back in the time of the Greeks and the Romans, where you're ramming ships, and that's what China has been doing. It has been ramming Japanese ships, ramming other vessels in the South China Sea to keep them away from what China claims is its own territory. It's sort of gray zone warfare. If a ship rams you, is that an act of war? Well, not if you can blame the other captain for bad ship handling.
Gulf of Tonkin redux.
Interesting.
The play then for President Trump. I mean, if what you're saying is true, and Xi's regime is so precarious and is being destabilized, then even if there is some pain to be felt in America by soybean farmers and other particular industries, should Trump take the approach of rather than working on a deal, bleeding China out and seeing if he can't foment regime change there?
Well, China has the ambition to dominate the 21st century. And I believe for the sake of the freedoms that we in the United States hold dear, that the Chinese Communist Party must be defeated. I think this is probably the best opportunity we will have to send that regime into the dustbin of history. And I will tell you this, that should make every listener angry. Beijing has now said it will stop the trade in fentanyl if we lower the tariffs. Think about that.
Wow.
So they're ransoming the lives of our children for the tariffs, right?
You get it. After years of falsely claiming that China had absolutely nothing to do with the fentanyl trade, we don't know where the factories are. We don't know where the shipments are coming from. We're not laundering the money. We know that they were actually doing all those things, by the way. Now they're saying we will stop killing 80, 90,000 Americans every year if you lower the tariffs. This is an ongoing chemical weapons attack on the United States. It's killed hundreds of thousands of people. Now they have admitted that they're controlling the fentanyl trade. They're profiting from the fentanyl trade. I say keep the tariffs in place.
When they're
raise the tariffs.
They're at the stage now that I feel like, should we all put masks back on? Because what's next? More virus from China?
Well, that was a biological weapons attack. You see, people need to understand that China has been at war with us across all domains except the kinetic. They haven't been firing bullets at us, but they've been at war with us in cyberspace and at war with us in trade, on currency, all sorts of domains. And they've been winning. For 25 years, they've gotten complacent. I think that Xi Jinping thought that he had the winning hand a couple years ago. That's when he became increasingly aggressive, thinking that America is on the downslope, that China has won. He overplayed his hand, and now we have someone in the Trump and the administration who understands the enormous economic power that we wield over China and the world, and how fragile the Chinese system really is when you come right down to it. And now it's time to end that system.
Do you expect anything to happen during that meeting this weekend in Switzerland between Bessent and his Chinese counterpart?
Well, the President Trump has already said that he's not going to reduce the tariffs. So I think it'll be a very pleasant meeting. Everyone will smile and nod. The Chinese side will try to make some proposals. But look, everyone needs to understand that any promises that are made by Chinese Communist Party officials are not worth the paper that they are written on. They have promised over the years to open their market. They lied. They have promised over the years to stop depreciating their currency. They haven't done it. They promised to stop cyber attacks in the Rose Garden back under Obama. That's a long time ago now. They continued. They escalated the cyber attacks. So nothing the Chinese Communist Party says is worth taking seriously.
Stephen Mosher is the president of the Population Research Institute, and he's an expert on China, and he's the author of The Devil in Communist China, From Mao Down to Xi. Stephen Mosher, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Rick Borick, host of Unleash Your Wealth.
When the stock market struggles, when inflation is high, you need to start looking through the inventory of all your accounts and say, is every one of these investments working as hard as it could be? Because every month during high inflation that you waste, you're losing 8 or 9% a year.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and our new time at 2 p.m. here on AM 560, The Answer.
You've heard us talk about our campaign this spring with Caring Network. They're a local pro-life organization based in Chicagoland, and they're working to prevent abortions in Illinois by reaching abortion-minded women with a message of life and hope. But they need your help to do it. Illinois has become a destination for so-called abortion tourism, unfortunately. Even as our neighboring states have restricted abortion, more women are coming to Illinois. The number of abortions in Illinois has actually doubled in less than 7 years. Caring Network is committed to reaching the abortion-minded woman, the woman who gets pregnant unexpectedly and is likely to go to a Planned Parenthood or another abortion provider to end her pregnancy. Caring Network needs your help to reach her first. You can help the effort by making a one-time donation of $150. That amount will make it possible for Caring Network to reach 5 women who are considering abortion. They provide services like telehealth counseling with a nurse. They can also schedule an in-person appointment to show a pregnant woman her baby on an ultrasound. To learn more and to make a donation to Caring Network, just go to 560theanswer.com/caring. That's 560theanswer.com/caring.
Pandemic. Oh, we're talking here. Mother's Day is this Sunday, right? We're talking about how my mom, we always talk to her on Open Mic Friday before Mother's Day. And during the pandemic, it was so sad because she was so depressed. But not this year. All right, to the live read. They've been in business for 8 years, QC Kinetics. And they have more than 50,000 satisfied patients. And you could be the next if you have knee pain, back pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, elbow pain. You have any type of pain, they'll check you out and see whether or not you're a good candidate for what is called regenerative cell therapy to restore tissue in your achy joints. Folks, these are biologic growth factors with robust healing properties carefully and strategically placed in your joint. It's a powerful and potent way to give your joints the new life and repair old tissue. The best part is there's no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. It's an all-natural option with lasting relief. Imagine doing all the things you enjoy this summer without joint pain. Here's what you do. If you have pain due to an injury or arthritis or just getting old, we know what that is all about, then contact my good friends at QC Kinetics and ask for your free consultation. You have nothing to lose. Saturday appointments available. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Okay, it's been the morning zoo today. John Cass, JohnCassNews.com, along with Amy, of course, and Bunky, of course.
Thank you. Ta-da.
Yeah.
And thanks to George Hoffman, our technical producer, while Justin, I don't know if you've heard Justin and his wife, they had a baby, yes, Serena.
They both did, or just the wife?
Yeah, he was cramping.
But how long is he taking off?
You legally get 3 to 4 weeks. They never had that when we had kids.
No,
never.
The best was Eric Zorn taking 9 weeks off, and that's when they had me fill in. And as they filled in, then they gave me a job.
But Eric Zorn did have the baby.
Hey-o.
Pathetic.
Thanks also to Quinn McCarthy and you, our listeners. We so appreciate you. Have a great day. Today we're going to have very cold conditions. It's in the 30s right now if you factor in the wind chill, but we will get up to 58 degrees. It is now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
It's the first deal of many. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what President Trump posted on Truth Social this morning, touting a trade agreement with Britain. He'll detail this hour at the White House, where Fox's Alexandria Hoff reads what the president wrote.
Because of our longtime history and allegiance together, it is a great honor to have the United Kingdom as our first announcement. Many other deals which are in serious stages of negotiation to follow. At London's defense conference this morning, honoring VE Day, Prime Minister Starmer said he's going to be providing more details as well today, adding, quote, "Make no mistake, I will always act in our national interest." Currently, the UK is subject to 25% levies on steel, aluminum, and cars and falls under that 10% global tariff.
She mentioned VE Day, marking 80 years since the Nazis surrendered, ended in World War II in Europe. Now, Russia is honoring that, starting a 72-hour ceasefire in Ukraine. Or is it? Ukraine accuses Russia of violating that hundreds of times already and launching attacks. Now to the Vatican, where cardinals voting in secret sent up black smoke earlier this morning. Fox's Alex Hogan is there.
And a lot of people continuing to gather behind me in the square as we approach another window of when we could see smoke on day 2 of this conclave. As you mentioned, black smoke billowed out of the chimney of the Sistine Chapel a couple hours ago. This is the second time that we have seen black smoke, meaning that so far the 133 cardinals have voted 3 times without reaching a 2/3 majority.
Now, whenever they do, we'll see white smoke indicating they have selected a new pope. It's calm at Columbia the morning after another pro-Palestinian protest. More than 80 of those anti-Israel demonstrators ended up in handcuffs, arrested.
When those students pushed their way inside while people were trying to study at the library, the security guard said, "Hand over your student ID cards or any ID and take off your masks." When they didn't, they said, "Fine, we're calling in the NYPD."
And that's Fox's Alexis McAdams at Columbia in New York City. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Clouds and sunshine, breezy for this afternoon, high 58, clear tonight, low 40. Sunshine on Friday with a high 65. Saturday, sun and clouds with a high 76. I'm Andy Robb on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hey all, Jim Carr here. I am the owner of Carr Machine and Tool in Elk Grove Village and loyal customer of Signature Bank. As a second generation owner, I knew I had to shift from operating as an old school machine shop to what I can proudly say is now one of the fastest growing aerospace manufacturing facilities in the region. Signature Bank was there every step of the way through our expansion efforts, including financing our new state-of-the-art facility. Their valuable industry expertise and constant communication throughout the construction process made our vision possible. Many thanks to Signature Bank for supporting Carr Machine and Tool. You set the bar high for other banks.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless. There is a better way. Pure Talk, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a better offer. A brand new free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan for $35 a month. You get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data, all on America's most dependable 5G network. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan. Pure Talk, wireless by Americans for Americans.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the